Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Spence is here.
Hello.
Hello, and Bruce is with us on audio.
That's because my internet went out last night during a power outage. They're going to have to reset the whole complex, I think.
It'll be fixed.
The whole military-industrial complex?
That's true, yes.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair. And today is January 12th, 2014.
Can't be.
Yes, it is. It's already the 12th. It's just unbelievable.
Time marches on.
Yep. It is. And I want to welcome any viewers, listeners on TalkShoe and on Blog Talk Radio. And feel free to connect with us and comment, join.
Dispute.
Yeah, that too. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. So, we had a... Spence, did your power go out yesterday?
No. Why when the storm hit?
Oh.
I don't know.
My close...
Clock's wrong.
Huh?
No. Well, I wasn't here. The people who were at home may have fixed the clocks, but...
Oh.
Mike, you were without power for almost 2 hours?
At least.
Yeah. Yeah, we had strong winds that did some damage to some tarps, but other than that, we were lucky.
Oh, no, not a damaged tarp.
Yep, a damaged tarp. I mean, tore it.
It was interesting. The place I was working yesterday, and it's a basement apartment renovation. And the place I was working I was so far away from being outside that I couldn't tell. We were also running on a generator because the service is being upgraded. And so the power was off. We're running on the generator. So I wasn't even aware that the storm was coming through. I mean, I heard about it on the radio that there was an alert, but I walked outside. There's branches everywhere. And I was like, oh. Didn't know it was even happening.
I just got to say that what Amnon just said about the tarp, that was a harp on the tarp. He was harping about the tarp.
Bruce in Red Day.
Yes. I keep watching my router. It keeps trying to phone home. You know, this is a Motorola Windsurfer type cable modem, and I know what's going on. And you know, they have this on-call lady. Not anybody that works for the complex, the military-industrial complex here. And, you know, all they do is take calls, and they'll call the on-call guy. And I tried to tell her, I said, you know, listen, don't send anybody out to my apartment this morning. We had a power outage last night. This is not something unique to my machine. the whole complex is probably down because they're going to have to go reset something, at the main hub. So hopefully she'll do that. I don't want to hear my doorbell ring this morning.
And she said, "This is Peggy. I seen someone in your house."
Right.
Morning, Andrew. Morning, Dan, Brent, Dennis, Dr. John. It's nice when it's a short list now that we can actually personalize the good mornings.
Hey, just before I forget, I wanted to mention not really a technology story, but the place I was working, been over there on and off for the last couple of weeks, renovating this basement apartment, doing all kinds of things from replacing the floor to upgrading the electrical service, which we're having an electrician do, by the way. We're not doing that. But putting in a new space for an extra washer dryer so they can move it upstairs and things like that. But the point was there was this really weird, in the basement apartment, really weird room in the back, very back corner of the basement that was all cement block. Didn't really think much of it, except to say that very dark. There was no windows, and working back there, finally had to open up the ceiling to put in a fan, a new vent. And there is 2 courses of block, very thick concrete block, solid, laying across the ceiling. What the heck is? After pondering over it for a while, I realized the vintage of the house was the early 1950s. This was a fallout shelter.
Wow.
In the
Great
house.
studio.
Yeah, it would be a great studio. But very interesting. Just realized what it was. You had to remove these blocks, which weigh a ton. They built this. They laid the block across plywood that was just, they built a space underneath the ceiling of the actual basement itself. Very strange.
And that's in our area here.
Yeah, it wasn't a bomb shelter because it would never protected from a bomb,
Yeah.
but it was a fallout shelter. So that's what they used. A very thick, dense concrete would stop, I guess it's gamma radiation from a bomb.
Let's see. Yahoo. I mean, if you guys don't have anything that you want to talk about. Mike?
I was going to talk about Windows Live Mail. Has anybody used Windows Live Mail?
I got a gripe about that.
Go ahead.
I use it here on...
Now, there's a difference between Windows Mail and Windows Live Mail.
This
Yep.
is Windows Live Mail. But I mean, I use it once a month, maybe.
Mm-hmm. What's your gripe, Bruce?
We sent out 4,500 invoices to new applicants for our healthcare program, and everybody got them except Windows Live, Hotmail, and at Outlook.com, all Microsoft properties. They sent out the content of the email, so the people never got their invoices. So we have to go, each individual sales rep had to go in, manually create an invoice and send it to them using NetSuite's mail. We used a mail service called Silverpop, and everybody got it. Gmail users got it. Yahoo users got it. But anything that was Microsoft related stripped out.
Wow. Wow.
Any idea why?
Don't know. We're investigating right now. IT is trying to figure out, why that was. Talking with the folks at Silverpop and whatnot.
Wow. Interesting.
And the sad part is Microsoft couldn't care less.
And what is your gripe with it, Mike?
Oh, I don't have a gripe with it. I just used it. I just fired it up for the first time this morning.
And
I had my media computers, my other computers. I have decided now that I don't want email and news groups and things like that on but one computer. I want it to be just on that computer. And right now it's a Windows XP computer. But Thunderbird is getting so full on that computer, it's bogged down dramatically. But normally it's been working fine. But what happens is on one of my i7 computers, periodically I will download a file to it. Maybe I want to send that file to my son or to someone like I did this morning. And while I can open Gmail and send it that way, it's really nice to right-click on the file, send to email recipient. When you do that, you have to have a default email client configured for Windows to be able to attach it to an outgoing message.
Right.
That's why I installed Windows Live Mail with just one of my other accounts. I even connected it with my Outlook.com email address because I don't intend to very often. I also set up a filter that if somebody hits reply to that Outlook.com email address, it will also send a copy to my main email address. If it comes in on my main email address, a little window pops up indicating that it was replied to from the other email and say, hey, don't use this email account. Normally you could go in, if I have a complaint, normally you could go in and even though you're sending from, I don't know, earthlink.net, you could say that it's coming from Amnon at deltaforce.net. It would allow you to use a different entity than the one actually used to connect to the mail server. So far, I have not been able to find a way to do that in Windows Live Mail.
You create another account, and then at the top on
Send as.
You what?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And then at the top on you would have a down arrow, and you can click that down arrow and choose which email do you want that particular one to go out from. And then that's how it will connect to the server. Mm-hmm. So, but you have to create another account in, what is it, file options, email account, somewhere there.
Yeah, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, so you add another account and another account, and I remember in the early days of Outlook Express.
Yeah, that was easy.
It would see which email it's coming to and which email it is addressed to. And if you reply, it will reply from that email address if it was configured. It stopped doing it after, I don't know, at some point. And you actually have to pick up the account that you want it to go out from.
All right, here's the problem that I run into. And again, I just started playing with this, so maybe I don't know what I'm doing. It's a good chance. But what I would like to do, my primary email address is a POBox.com email address,
right,
which is nothing but an alias. And what happens when somebody sends to that POBox.com email address, it does nothing but forward to Gmail account that I use, and I actually use it as a POP account. I pop my email out of the Gmail account, and it's invisible to me technically, and it's invisible to the sender.
Right.
Even when I reply through the POBox.com SMTP server, which keeps the half of gmail.com crap out of my return email address, meaning that it's all invisible to the user. It looks like they're sending to a POBox.com POP account and that they're receiving email through the POBox.com SMTP account, and only one of those is correct. Mm-hmm. I'm going to add a new email account from
Now,
Windows.
wait a second. Now, let me ask you a question here. When you are replying to that email that came to you from Gmail that was originally sent to P.O. Box, how do you want the recipient, what do you want the recipient to see as your email address?
P.O. Box. They never see Gmail.
Okay, go on then. Keep going.
They never see Gmail.
Okay.
And, if I want them to see Gmail, I'll use about 27 of my other accounts. But now, if I want to add my P.O. Box.
Wait a second. No, at this point, it's much simpler. All you have to do is change your from address.
There is no from.
Yes, there's a place there that says your email address in Live Mail.
All right, I'm here now, and I'm on email tab. All right, home tab. Then I click on email message, which brings up new message. It says new message.
No. When you configure the account for whatever, for P.O. Box, there's an account for Gmail.
All right, let's look at it for the Outlook account. If I go over here and go down to property.
Right. there's a place that says your email address.
Right, and it says mail account. Type the name by which you would like to refer to these servers.
That's different.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And underneath that, it says user information, name, organization, email address,
That's
reply address.
That's it. Email address. What is that?
Right. It is my Outlook.com address.
Okay.
If I change that to my POBox.com email address and send you an email, it looks no different. It still has the Outlook.com email address.
Okay, that is also probably because you need to change Gmail. In Gmail, it has a configuration that says when sending email, either use or use...
Yep, I've all that set correctly, but this account is not using Gmail.
Okay, so... Oh, wait a second. I thought you were saying that you are popping
the P.O. Box
it.
account.
Yeah, but you are popping it. It's really not P.O. Box. There is no quote-unquote box at P.O. Box.
Correct. And
So-
if this were Outlook Express, properties page, where it says email address, if I put my POBox.com email address and sent you an email through any other mail server, it would still show you that it came from my POBox.com email address.
And that's the way you want it to be, right?
Right. But live mail is sent Windows Live Mail will not let you do that.
And
I've read news group posts that says it does not work that way anymore.
Oh, well, I mean,
Now,
I use live
You know
mail.
what? I may have just figured out a solution because, and this is something I really don't understand, that people listening may understand a heck of a lot better than I do. But what I noticed is that when I set up this Outlook account, I let it set it up automatically.
Oh,
And it set it up as an HTTP account instead of a POP account. So that's probably the problem.
Also, it will default when you do it automatically to your username at your. I mean, the servers will try to the domain name that you are configured. I never do anything automatic. I always do manual. But Dr. John is saying somewhere in settings there should be a setting that says always show from address.
I think that doesn't happen. There may be, and if you know where it is, I'd be glad to go to it.
Now,
But since there's only one account, I think that's not showing. Add a second account.
no,
Right,
that's different.
I'll do that now. You guys go ahead with something else. I'm going to play with
but
this.
that is different. I mean, I have one account here in Live Mail. I don't want to bring it out now so it will mess things up. It's host@computers2know.com. But really, that's just an alias that goes to my Amnon account.
Yep.
When I reply from here, it shows that it came from host at computers2know.com.
Yeah, I think I may know what the problem is, and so you guys go ahead, and I'm going to play
All
with
right.
it, and if I figure it out, I'll let you know.
All right.
But the reason I started messing with it is a fellow woodworker guy in Liberty, North Carolina, has been having trouble with computer, and I helped him get all of his stuff straightened out. Started having some problems with his email. When I logged into his computer and started playing with his email, it turns out that he was using Windows Mail because he was still on Vista.
Yeah.
Then I played around with it a little bit. Then I got my bearings and noticed that it's an awful lot like
Outlook Express and
Outlook Express, which I know my way around Outlook Express tremendously. So then once I got my bearings, I was able to get his problem solved very quickly.
John is saying he's using Microsoft Outlook.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that is different.
I'll work on it. You guys go right ahead.
All right. Well, Spence stepped back to his shack to do something. But thousands of users have been affected by a malicious advertisements served by ads.yahoo.com. The attack, which lasted several days, exploited vulnerabilities in Java and installed malware. The Netherlands-based Fox IT estimated estimates that the infection rate was at about 27,000 infections per hour. In response to the breach in security, Yahoo issued the following statement. At Yahoo, we take the safety and privacy of our users seriously. Tell that to Sarah Palin. We recently identified an ad designed to spread malware to some of our users. Immediately removed it, and it will continue to monitor the block any ads being used for this activity. I guess Yahoo immediately means 4 days. While the source of the attack remains unknown, Fox IT says it appears to be financially motivated, and the Washington Post cites this incident as a reminder that Java has become an internet security menace. I can't believe that this will take days to fix, to find and fix.
Well, if they don't have a team of people ready to work on it, or even maybe it's not even on their radar anymore.
It may not be on their radar. I don't have a team of people to work on it. I do it myself.
Yeah, but you don't ever eat or sleep or go anywhere.
Well, see, but so they can do it. They can do it with a team of 3 people. That is ridiculous, though, for them, for Yahoo to fall into this again. But again, first of all, you get what you pay for. But I'm sure that some of the paying subscribers got the same mess. It's not unique. It is not unique to those that are using it for free. So, but it's bad. Any way you look at it, it's bad. And
well,
when
we tend to editorialize from time to time here, and today is no exception. And I even this past week, I don't know, as I say this all the time, but I guess it's only because it's what I see. As I get older, more and more things are opening up to me that I'm beginning to see more clearly. And something that just hit me in this past week, and the older guys here, I believe, will agree with me, is it's becoming increasingly alarming how totally irrelevant are in the eyes of these big companies. You know what? You got somebody pissed off in Cary, North Carolina. So what? There are 10,000 behind him who are happy. I'm not complaining.
Exactly. Should be the other way around.
Well, these things are cyclical. They're cyclical. I mean, customer service became an issue because people got sick and tired of not having customer service, and at some point they voted with their feet and decided not to do business with companies that don't provide good customer service. The other side of that is that the world is changing, particularly this country. The opportunities are diminishing. Things are going to get tougher. The stories I could tell you, things happened just in the last week with Obamacare that are just absolutely horrible. Even in my own family, it cost me a fortune. But that being said, that if these companies want to continue to do what they're doing and they want to continue to provide no customer service, what they're doing is they're providing opportunities for entrepreneurial types to come along and knock them off their horse. You can provide a lesser quality service with better customer service and get away with it. And when I'm not suggesting that you should provide a lesser quality service, I'm suggesting maybe you don't have the resources to create a Gmail.
Yeah, but if somebody set their mind to it, they can do it the right way.
And whenever you provide quality service, you can charge a higher price, pay more for quality.
Exactly.
They don't like it, but they will.
Here's something for you, Mike, but I wanted to bring it up, but if you're busy with
No, I'm just playing. The From, by the way, when I added the second account,
and
the From window showed up. If there's only one account, then the From window is not there.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead.
Technology company Harman
Harman Kardon, yeah.
Harman International
They own Electro Voice and some.
Okay.
Well, actually, they sold it to Bosch.
Today announced software that automatically analyzes and upgrades the audio quality of all types of compressed, digitized music to restore the sounds as it was originally recorded by the technology, called Signal Doctor, will be available in a number of new Harman consumer products and in new Harman branded automotive audio systems.
Total nonsense. Next story.
The what?
Total nonsense. Next story.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, let me get to the. Says
Let me break it down into a home improvement.
An original recording
parallel.
can lose up to 90% of audio content when it's compressed to MP3 streaming. It can restore the missing audio content in order to return the music. Okay, yeah, never mind. Nothing else that.
Let's assume that you have a piece of aluminum, a sheet of aluminum that's 1 inch by 1 inch. I mean, 1 foot by 1 foot. You take a hole punch. And you take the hammer and a punch, and you punch 50 holes in that sheet of aluminum so that air can flow through it. Then you later decide that you're going to put that piece of aluminum back the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
So you go get this magic chemical that you need on that, and all of a sudden the missing aluminum reappears. Would you buy that?
No, it can't magically appear.
It can't. You can stop up the holes with something that looks similar to the aluminum, but you can't put the original aluminum back. And that's the way it is reconstituting non-compressed files from a compressed file.
Well, so that it's possible to make the sound better even?
No, I not only do not think it's not possible, I know it's not possible. Now, having said that, there are more and more, and there will continue to be more digital signal processing algorithms, different programs, noise reduction programs. There are going to be all sorts of audio processing routines that can certainly change the audio, and some of the audio sound better. But the only way they would be able to, and this is sort of what they're talking about, is they're making a predictive algorithm that says that we've got the music, then a missing part, and then the music. That's what compress does. It goes through and takes out the irrelevant parts so that it can make the file size smaller. They create an algorithm that says, right, with this block here and this block here, then mathematically what probably was between the two was this. They plug it in there. And for a lot of audio, it may in fact make it sound better. But the reality is what it inserted into that audio may or may not be what was there before. It certainly is not from the original music source.
So it's really they're misstating what it does. It does potentially enhance the music and make it sound better, but storing what was there originally. It can't.
Correct. You can't. I mean, where are they going to get it?
Right.
I mean, forget the technology. Talk about common sense. Where is it going to get it? Let's in this example of these holes in the aluminum. You got this magic chemical that's going to restore the aluminum. Where's it going to get it? It can anticipate that this material connected to this material and it's going to fill in the hole. Eyes out. You now have a usable sheet of aluminum, but it's not the original pieces unless you're going to get those original pieces and line them up and put them back in there in the proper order you knocked them out. It is not the original source aluminum. So,
Mike,
I mean,
all of those bits are safely stored at Pirate Bay.
And NSA. The NSA has them too.
So I'm having some things with this, and I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said. But you know, if you've all seen a Motorola windsurfer modem, you know what it's like. It's got these series of 5 dots. One when it comes on, one when it's sending something, then it's receiving something,
Mm-hmm.
then the online light lights up, and then the bottom one says productivity, and it flashes. So now I've got all the lights, but I can tell they're working on it. But I still have no internet, even though it says it's online. In fact, there's a couple of people in the complex that have guest Wi-Fi, available, and all of that is limited, meaning, that nobody's got any internet. But it's interesting that it's showing like it's connected, but there is no internet yet. So I ran the
Right.
Windows network diagnostics, and it's telling me to restart your broadband modem. By the way, since we've been talking, I have rebooted the router 3 more times and rebooted my PC twice as well. So hopefully they'll get this thing fixed.
Who is your NIS?
It's with, I think they buy the bandwidth from a company called Intelos.
Okay. Try to do this, Bruce. Go into your command line.
Right.
And try to ping. You ready?
Yeah.
64-132-134-7.
Request is timing out. So.
Yeah, okay. I thought maybe it was just your DNS, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Well, but whenever it shows it's connected, all that means is that the carrier is in place between you and the first server. It doesn't mean that anything's connected in terms of another layer from that point to the internet.
Where are you graphically, Bruce?
Pardon me?
Are you home?
Yeah, I'm home.
Oh, you are home. Okay.
Yeah, and so
like
obviously there's something else they've got to reset master in a master way to
the
get
provider's connection to the main internet might be down.
Could be.
Yeah, we don't know. It might not be the infrastructure, so sending somebody out, rolling a truck won't do any good.
Next time they tell you to reboot your modem, tell them to reboot theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll go over real well, and probably they'll jump right on
service. Another good customer service story.
Yeah, their main connection to the internet is a cable modem connected to another carrier.
Mike, one more thing about that MP3 stuff. Is there really a reason to enhance MP3 when you listen to it in a car?
No.
I didn't think so.
There is if you sell audio equipment for cars.
Yeah, you can help pay the rent. Look, there are the young kids who've got to have all the boom and sizzle. I mean, you've heard these guys driving down the street every time the bass drum hits, the back wheels pop off the ground about an inch. And that is all very enhanced audio. You've got to have a subwoofer as well as a high-pass filter driving the subwoofer that you can disproportionately crank the bass up, so it drives you crazy. Mm-hmm. But did you know that Adolf Hitler used low-frequency audio to torture people in World War II?
No.
He did, and whenever he tortured people, the low-frequency audio, and he was talking about 30 hertz and below, what they discovered is that this, and it's been a while since I've read it, so Dr. John and the smart people in chat may have better information. If they do, I just stand corrected because I don't like to give out bad information. But what the low frequency does is, it's really pressure waves, and this low frequency audio would actually cause your internal organs to vibrate at the same rate as this frequency that's hitting your body, meaning that if 20, 30 hertz at very high levels, people often would not even hear it. But they would sit there and these low frequency waves would vibrate their internal organs with this low frequency and actually bruise those organs. And it would give them this really horrible, horrible, sick feeling that they've never experienced before, because they're bruising, damaging their internal organs. I don't know how permanent it was. I don't know if they paid from it. But I guess all these people with this noise going on now, they're so smoked up that they probably don't know that they're sick internally anyway.
Yeah,
it's really just a safety device so you can hear them coming.
That's right. Particularly if they're in an electric car to save the environment.
That's right. Well, their sound system in an electric car, it cuts their mileage by 2/3.
Yeah.
All the power they need to drive the audio system.
All right, let's.
Well, Dr. John says people pay big money at concerts to experience that. Well, I went to a Brad Paisley concert, which in some ways I'm glad I went. But that's my last concert. They had that music so loud. I was wearing earplugs and it was too loud. Now, I grew up in loud music. Don't talk to me about being an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to things being too loud. I destroyed my hearing with loud music. I don't think when they get to our age, they won't be able to hear a bomb go off. It's just ridiculous how loud these things are. And I don't believe people want it that loud. I believe that the sound guys have become deaf, and they crank it up because they think that's what people want.
That's right. Yeah, I remember the story about the mechanics who used to work on jet engines during the Vietnam War. They worked on Phantom jets, and they got to the point where they were so hard they would listen to the jet running to tell what was wrong with it. So eventually they got to the point where they could hear the jet. It was loud enough for them to hear it to diagnose the jet, but they couldn't hear otherwise.
And once you
remember that event we went to, Air Force Base, for that air show that time?
Yeah.
We drove down with the vehicles, and they had the Sabre jet on the flying around, and we were 150 yards or more away from that jet, and it was so loud you had to cover your ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have good news to report with Windows Live Mail.
Okay.
If you set up an account using manual, click the button that says, I want to set up my account manually.
Right.
It works the way Outlook Express did. You can use a different email address that shows up. And when I sent an email through my MikePhillips.com server as the SMTP sender with my POBox.com address as the return address, when it got to my email account, it shows up as being from my POBox.com email address.
There you go.
What I haven't done is check my reply. If I hit reply, it works correctly, so we're all good. So if you want to use Windows Live Mail and use alternative servers than the ones they want you to use, be sure to set it up manually.
Andrew is asking me, why don't you just use Gmail?
I do use Gmail. And I actually said earlier why I was doing this. It's for a varied use that provides a desktop interface, and Andrew's going to say, yes, Gmail will allow you to interface with the desktop so that you can click on a file and say send by Gmail or send by email, and it will bring up Gmail. I'm aware of all that, but one of the things that I do is I not only have multiple Gmail accounts for various purposes, but I also manage some Gmail accounts for other people, family members and otherwise. And the Gmail account that I use for that sort of thing is not the one that's open on my desktop, so that it confuses that send to from time to time.
No, there are good reasons to have it like that.
Yeah, but it's not going to be used very much. In fact, probably the only time it will be used is when I right-click on a file and say send by email. Other than that, there's no reason for me to use this on this computer.
Okay. Well, listen to this. The same network efficiencies that have given companies their great advantages are becoming the ends of our ruin.
Say that again.
The same network efficiencies that have given companies their great advantages are becoming the instrument of our ruin. In the financial services industry, it led to the financial crisis. In the case of a company like Walmart, the adoption of technology to manage its supply chain at first reaped great benefits, but over time its competitors and suppliers hundreds of thousands of jobs, thus gradually impoverishing its own customer base. Jaron Lanier says that the digital economy has done as much as any single thing to hollow out the middle class. Take Kodak and Instagram. At its height, Kodak had more than 140,000 people. Kodak made plenty of mistakes, but look at what is replacing it. When Instagram was sold to Facebook for $1 billion in 2012, it employed only 13 people. Networks.
Oh, that's a nice paycheck.
No kidding. But probably who got it?
Networks need a great number of people. Networks need a great number of people to participate in them to generate significant value, says Lanier. But when they have them, only a small number of people get paid. This has the net effect of centralizing wealth and limiting overall economic growth. It is Lanier's radical idea that people should get paid whenever their information is used. He envisions a different kind of digital economy in which creators of content, whether a blog post or a Facebook photograph, would receive micropayments whenever that content was used. If Google and Facebook were smart, they would want to enrich their own customers. So far, Silicon Valley has made the stupid choice to grow their businesses at the expense of their own customers. Lanier's message is that it can't last and it won't. That's just like, 15, 20 years ago when they were saying that computers are going to take the place of people and it's going to be hard to get a job unless you can work with a computer, and everybody's going to know how to work on a computer, so you're going to have a lot of competition, and instead of needing 20 people in the office, they're only going to need 5, so here's 15 jobs that went away. I mean, it makes sense, but that's where retraining comes in my opinion. If you're losing your job in one industry because it's automating, go and get trained for something else. I know now it's easy for somebody like me to say that's been working for themselves most of their life. And if somebody is 55 years old and Kodak is selling or going out of business, it's who's going to hire a 55-year-old? So it's a double edge. What do you have to say?
Oh, it's definitely a double-edged because look at the statistics that just came out this week. While they made a big deal about this unemployment rate going down, the reason it went down was not because of jobs created or people finding jobs. It was because millions of people left the workforce, decided not to look for work anymore. So they're removed from the unemployment rolls, from the statistics. There are 90 million people in the United States that are not working. And many cases, it's not by choice. There's a lot of people who choose not to work because they're just living off the
you and me
benefits. But it's astounding how many people have just given up, and there aren't any jobs to find, no matter what. And you know
what? Being hopeless and broke is far less than just being broke.
Think about your comment of you and me. Unemployment in its early stages don't come out of you and me. They come off of the company. It's only those extensions that were added and added and added.
I'm not talking unemployment. Well, if that's true, Amnon, then why is the government extending unemployment benefits?
No. What I'm saying is it's only...
You're saying initially.
Yeah, the initial it's always come out of the employer. That's why employers did not want to fire people.
Employees do not pay into unemployment. It is not an entitlement. Employers are taxed for unemployment benefits.
And that's why
it was a portion. I thought you paid into it.
No, only there is.
And every time there's a new claim, the employer gets burned.
But after the initial period of 20-some weeks, there is no more money for it. And that's when the government came in, and that's when it's coming out of you and me.
Correct.
And I heard, I was just listening to the radio the other day, and I was browsing, heard a station I don't normally listen to, and the person was calling in and saying, it's just refusing to extend these benefits for people long-term unemployed. It's the people who don't want to do that. They have no heart.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just made me crazy.
You can't let it get you down, Spence, because, again, I hate to be the bad guy here, but that deal's over. You're not going to convince low-information voters that it's anything other than right for them to sit on their tail and do nothing. I mean, look, if you read some of these stories about what these people are getting in terms of benefits, examine their skill set, look to see what jobs are available for that skill set. Heck, I can't blame them for sitting there taking the money. Why do you want to? My answer is different from this than most people, I guess, but why would you sit there if you're pulling down $42,000 a year on government welfare and you can then go get a job making $30,000 and working 40 hours a week? Persuade me that you should go do that.
Yeah, I heard a really good discussion about this the other day on a show I was listening to, where they talked about how a guy called in to say, I lost my job. I was in technology. I'm now working as a store manager for I don't know if it was a restaurant or a retail chain or something like that. And he said, I don't get any extra benefits. He said, the people I work with, we get the same salary. He said, but they make more money than me because they're accepting all these other programs. Like it might be $30,000 a year that he's making, but the other folks that he works with have much more available money because they get food stamps, or they get earned income credit or whatever. And he said, it's just insane. You don't take into account this person who's making $30,000. If you add up the benefits they get, and they're making 50 or 60.
Not insignificant. And the really sad part about it, I won't give all of my opinion here, but the really sad part about it is that whenever you receive these benefits, and I'm not saying that you're milking the system, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get them, because there are people who are truly needy, and I do believe that the government does have some responsibility, those who are in a position of not being able to help themselves. It's the deadbeats that get under my skin. But here's the problem. Justified or not, once you start getting free money, it is very difficult to get unhooked. It's like an addiction to cocaine. Mm-hmm. It is so good in your current perception. What can you do to change it? You will often hear people who have broken the cycle of government dependency, who will tell you that they were ostracized by their family and friends. What's wrong with you? Why do you want to work? Why do you want to go out and kill yourself? I'm making the same money you are, and yet you're having to go spend time away from your family. And the reason is because you lose yourself, you lose your sense of self-worth if you don't do something productive. And if you've never been productive and never experienced a sense of self-worth beyond narcissism, then you're not going to miss it. But for those of us who have gone out and tried to work, be productive, contribute to society, support ourselves, be responsible for ourselves, going on a system that just gives you free money, what was it, Switzerland or Sweden? I forget which one of these countries. It totally socialized. It is, and this the statistic is years old, but They had a system whereby if you had a job and lost your job, you got your full salary. If you had a child and stayed home, that you continued to get paid. Your health care was totally covered. Mm-hmm. In essence, it's a utopian citizenship. It's a utopian country in that you don't have to worry about anything that you could run into. As long as you've shown a little bit of responsibility, you're totally covered. You got the highest instance of alcoholism and drug abuse in the free world. Why would that be?
Well,
because
I mean, no, but
have no sense of accomplishment.
But the thing is, the reason why they can do that is because people are not taking advantage of it, and I think it's only those that really got hurt, or I mean, if you're pregnant, I mean, it'd be great if you let a woman who just had a baby stay home for a year and pay her, but the money has to come from somewhere, and if
actually it's funded by their oil and energy. Because the country, it's like a big cooperative. The country gets all this money for energy exploitation. So that's what funds it.
Yeah, but I mean, if that could not if the same attitude of people that we have here would be there, it would collapse. It's because people are more responsible.
Arnie has corrected me and said that it was Norway.
Okay. Did you see Dan's comment there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a classic statement that's been around forever.
Did you hear?
So I'm really, really, really disappointed that my internet situation is like it is right now, and I don't know who's working on it, but I'm kind of bummed out. But I'd like to just share with you a little bit about my Chromebook only experiences last week, especially in light of a great article I read on Ars Technica. Let me see if I can find that article because I'm having to work totally off my phone. On Ars Technica, there's an article by Andrew Cunningham, who was covering CES, and he was trying to cover CES with a Chromebook only. Now, he has a MacBook Air 13-inch model that he used a couple times to upload some photographs that he had taken with his Canon camera to their, to their website.
Bruce,
am I still on?
Was it the 11-inch HP one?
Yeah, he had the 11-inch HP,
Okay.
but he had it with the new charger and everything.
Okay,
But
I just put it in chat, so if anybody
Okay,
wants
great.
to follow along.
So, this trip, the last 2 months I've taken my Dell Latitude business laptop and my Chromebook. This time I took nothing but the Chromebook. And I'd just like to kind of share what that experience was like, because there were some pluses and some minuses. But it was kind of like Cortez burning his ships behind him, all I had was the Chromebook. And so the first day, but as the day went on to the week, it got better and better. So the HDMI cable that I used to mirror to a nice 24-inch Dell monitor worked fantastically. What I would do is I would use Chrome Remote Desktop into my PC that was running back here that was fully VPN'd into our network in Florida where I was. And I would, if you use Chrome Remote Desktop, that shows up as a tab in your browsers. I would grab that tab and drag it over to the big monitor. And so my big monitor had everything on my PC back home. And I was able to scroll from left to right if I wanted, depending on which one of my two monitors I wanted to see here. Of course, I had my PC at home set not to go to sleep ever. And I turned the monitors off. Just there was no need for them to be running because I didn't need those to be able to operate. The only two things that were negatives for me, and these were simple things to overcome. One was when it came time to print my boarding passes to fly home on Friday, I didn't have any access to the network printers there. So what I did was I saved the PDF file of my boarding passes, emailed it to somebody else in the company who then printed it to the printer, and I had my boarding passes. The other was somebody in marketing wanted me to test out a spreadsheet for creating these invoices that I referred to earlier. And, of course, I wasn't able to get to the network drive. And there was no way I was going to go to the head of IT and ask him how I could network my Chromebook in the corporate office. And only one IT guy walked past me, I think on Thursday, and he just said, "Hey, Bruce," and I don't think he noticed anything. If he did, he didn't comment or say anything. But the only negative experience that I really found was the little bit of time lag in clicking on my remote, my PC back home, waiting for drop downs to drop down, those types of things. And it was minimal, but when you work with a PC the whole time, you like everything to go as fast as you can. That's why I use Chrome instead of Internet Explorer, because NetSuite, which uses a lot of asynchronous Java or Ajax, Chrome just does a faster job. But it was interesting. I'm not sure that I think I'll do it again. I'm not sure that I'll do it every time. But I was quite pleased with the experience overall. I did all my podcasting through the Chromebook using twistedwave.com/online. So it was quite interesting. But the Ars Technica article that Nick has posted in there, it's a great article. It's a real good, honest evaluation. There were some, it may have not been the best situation for him, but the fact that he said it was possible is interesting. The other thing is I set up my Google Drive to be available for offline. And on my flight down, I was able to totally work on my PowerPoint presentation that I was going to give on Wednesday, and work on that on the plane. And then when I got to where I had Wi-Fi, it updated it, and I saved it to a USB thumb drive, gave it to the sound guy at the back of the booth, and he stuck it in, and everything worked great. So overall, I thought it was a good experience.
So I have a question about this, Bruce. So if you're going to just take a Chromebook and remote desktop into a Windows PC, what is the benefit of bringing the Chromebook?
It weighs 5 pounds less. You don't have to drag around that big Dell Latitude laptop. It boots instantly when I'm in the airport and I've got a flight delay or I've got a layover. I'm sitting in the Fox Sports Grill at Charlotte Douglas Airport. I lift up the lid. I'm immediately running. I don't have to, it takes a while for everything to boot up and get everything set up. The Chromebook, everything is running. All my tabs are open. I just lift the lid and I'm in. So that would be part of my answer to your question.
Now, don't you think like you said, there was the issues with delays between Chrome Remote Desktop. I mean, Chrome Remote Desktop is definitely not a perfect service. I've used it a few times and I've had some issues with it. Wouldn't it just be better to get something like a lighter, thinner laptop, a Windows laptop, and just do the exact same thing? Just run Windows and be completely VPN'd into your network?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. The fact is, I wanted to see what was possible. And the Chromebook was so much easier to use and carry. The only negatives were having access to the network printer, having access to a network file, which all I did was have one of the other managers save a copy of the spreadsheet they wanted me to look at, send it to me as an email attachment, and I was, able to work with it even on my Chromebook and Google Spreadsheets. But if IT was if it's time to replace my computer, and they were willing to get me a new Dell Ultra notebook or something else like that was light and easy to carry, certainly it's easier to do that, especially if it had an SSD drive in it that booted fast and everything. But mainly, I'm just kind of reporting on what the experience was like. Again, I'm not sure that I would do this again or do this every time, but now I know. And I would not have known had I not put myself in the situation of having that as my only option.
Yeah, I mean, I use my Chromebook at school, and that's about it. And I even have issues there with just like simple things not working, and it's just not normal. Like opening up multiple, like an email client. Like it's so idiotic that for me to load my different email accounts, I have to go through Gmail or a webmail service and click the drop down and open 5 different email tabs to check my different emails. It's simple things like that are just such a pain to use. I mean, I have 5 tabs dedicated to email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
It's not effective.
Don't you have Linux? Do you have Linux installed?
Well, I do have Linux, but that's just as much of a pain to get to as well. With the stupid keyboard commands you have to run to get to it. And get back and forth.
And there again, I think it's the user experience of what you have to do. I have a Gmail account. I have a business email account. I don't need to have 5 email tabs open. In Outlook, I manage 4 different email addresses for the company where people respond, and I can do all that in Outlook. And the only negatives was a little bit of lag. I still was able to do all of my work, and it just wasn't as fast. Driving my Windows machine through the Chromebook. And when I say not as fast, I mean almost as fast, but not quite. And if you're used to, being a thoroughbred and, clicking and going through your day, you miss that little bit of speed. It's just like the same reason they wax the hulls of the sailing vessels that sail in the America's Cup race. They do everything they can. It's why swimmers sometimes will shave their head bald. They want every little millisecond extra they can get. So it was not a bad experience. It was a good experience. It wasn't a great experience. Maybe that says it.
Okay.
Doug was asking you in the chat, he says, Bruce, any issues with Twisted Wave? I don't know what that is, but...
No, if you go to twistedwave.com/online and you register for account, this thing is in beta right now. and they limit you to a short time of file. I think it's like 2 minutes or something else like that. But if you log in and create an account, right now you can create as long a file, an audio file as you want. So I hooked my Behringer 302 USB microphone into my Chromebook. I had my AT2005 into the Behringer mixer. I was able to, I used a music player called Remo, where I had my intro and my outro. And I was able to record the file. And the nice thing about Twisted Wave, once you finish, and it brings up a little pop-up once you say to open up a new document. And you can do fade in, fade out. You can normalize. A lot of little things you can do. And all this is accomplished through Adobe Flash. And but then when you click File, you can send it directly to SoundCloud, or you can send it to Google Drive. And I chose to do both. But it made it very easy because I've been using SoundCloud now, and I click Send to SoundCloud, make it public. I name the name of the podcast, and it immediately goes to SoundCloud.
Okay, now I've got a comment here about that whole thing. This is something that somebody like you, Bruce, like Nick, somebody who's very much into technology can actually do. But for the other 99% of people who bought a Chromebook, it is just like a terminal to use internet.
I'll give you a perfect example. When I got the Chromebook for Christmas, and my father needed a new computer, so we ended up getting him one as well. Mm-hmm. And last night I went downstairs to get something to drink, and he was on one of my laptops, and I looked over his shoulder and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he was doing he was doing photo editing. And I know that you can do photo editing on the Chromebook, but it's just so not intuitive. And he was just quickly I think he was doing a sketch for somebody quickly in Paint. And it's just like something like that. I was like, oh, like me, I would know to go to like Pixlr or one of the photo editing things, but on the Chromebook, it's not there. You have to go to the store and search for something like that.
I think a lot of people in their mind that the Chromebooks, the little tiny notebooks that are cheap, are really not a full computer, even though you could use it if you knew what you were doing. But the perception here is, okay, I've got that $200 piece, and here I've got the real laptop. If I want to do real work, I need to go here. And it's going to take time for people to realize, oh, I can do the same thing, like Bruce is saying, set his drive in the cloud to get everything that he wants to be able to go into another computer and come out of it as though he's on that computer. That's not something that your everyday people would do in mass.
Yeah, but listen, there's no excuse for buying something and not, studying it and deciding what you want to do with it. There's a lot of information out there. No, listen, it's like somebody buying a standard transmission car who's always driven an automatic.
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy a car, you want to get to know that car. You get to know how it works and how it works best, how to change the channels, set the channels on your radio, how to use the GPS, how to sync your phone to Bluetooth and all that stuff. I mean, that's just something that you learn to do. You buy a new house. You learn different things about that house, little idiosyncrasies, how to work with it best, how to set up your furniture. And so, I have no sympathy for a low information purchaser who doesn't know what they're getting and is not willing to put in the time to learn what its capabilities and possibilities are.
See, I think the issue with that, people go back to their defaults when there's no photo editing thing defaultly installed on the Chromebook. There's nothing installed like there should be. There should be Pixlr or one of these other services installed on the Chromebook. There's no excuse for not having bare bones.
No. If you're Google, if you have a Gmail account, which you have to have when you log in, it's very easy to do in Google Plus. There's some really great photo editing now just within Google Plus now.
But you have to know to upload a picture to Google. I had no clue there was photo editing in Google Plus. I use Google Plus every day. I mean, when you need to get something done quickly, you might not necessarily have the time to install 3 different Chromebook apps and see which one does exactly what you want with photo editing. So you go
Yeah,
back
let me ask
to the
this.
defaults.
How many PC users actually do photo editing on their PC? What percentage would you guess that
Well,
would
I'm
be?
not-
And ones that would only do stuff like,
How many?
And that was all my father was doing. He was just doing a quick SketchUp of I don't even know what it was. He was just drawing a quick diagram, but he had no
I
freaking
did
clue
that
what
on
to
my
do on
note
Chromebook.
too, and I learned how to do it.
But he needed to get it done quick. He didn't have time to learn a whole new ecosystem for doing a sketch, saving it. He doesn't have. He has a Roadrunner.com email. He can't link that to his Chromebook. He has to use the stupid webmail thing, which of course is 30 years old. I mean, there's so many different things when you need to get something done quick and need to get it sent off to somebody. You don't have time to sit here and install different apps and figure out how to use them. People just go back to their defaults.
Yeah, I would just say on this show we talk at a real high level on a whole lot of subjects, including LED light bulbs and car repairs and air conditioner repairs and stuff like that. I'm just saying, it may not be for the average everyday person, but I'm a fan. I'll be honest with you, and I'm glad I got it. It outshines any tablet I've ever thought of having, and it works good for what it does. I agree that it's not for everybody, but I think it's a great device.
That I would go for. It's not for everybody. It actually could be for everybody, but for certain things. And the analogy that you brought,
70% of people, it's all they need.
Yeah, but you see, those 70% of people are not going to use it the way that you do. You're really getting everything out of it. Most people will not. And I would give you an analogy that if you have a pair of pliers or a socket, you can tighten a bolt with both. But if you're looking at the bolt, you're going to say, oh, I've got a socket. That works. You don't know that you can actually take the pliers and do it too. Now, when you do it,
some people don't know the difference between metric and U.S.
but
measurement.
they don't. But you see, that's my point. They don't need to know it because the computer today.
They better know it. They better know it if they're driving in a foreign car.
It's not a foreign car. It's something that's sold at Best Buy. That's not a foreign car. The fact that it's different than their old, what they're used to computer.
Okay, so using your analogy, a PC user should never buy a Mac or vice versa.
No. I did not say that. But you don't.
There's a learning curve either way, Amnon.
Not if you're going to use the Chromebook for what it was intended to begin with, and it was intended to be used just like the netbook for the internet. But people use it for more than that, and you can. And the more educated in technology you are, the more you're going to be getting. The more you're going to be able to squeeze out of this machine. But your average user is going to take it, go surf, check their email, and email is going to be checked on the web. They are not going to even know that they have a program that they can download it there, and they're going to use it for what it was intended to. And I think that it was intended for used on the internet, on the cloud, on whatever you want to call it. It was not intended to be used as a productivity computer. Because like here's Donovan is saying he bought it because it had a keyboard. But the keyboard is small. I couldn't sit there all day and work on that keyboard. I'm used to a big keyboard, a standard keyboard. And if I'm traveling and I'm going somewhere, that's great. I mean, I have something. I mean, I used my smartphone sometimes to telnet in the beginning into a server, but it's not what it was meant to be.
Well, the reality is that it will find its place.
It will.
People will figure out what it's best used for, or they won't buy it.
Right. And here, people are listening to us here, Bruce, and maybe some people that do have the Chromebook will say, wow, I heard something that Bruce said that he can do such and such and such. Let me try it. And there it goes. But that doesn't. But
I'm an advocate. Toshiba has just come out with a nice new Chromebook. I think this is more than just a fad like the netbook was, but we'll see where it goes. But if you want to get a Chromebook, do yourself a favor and go to some like OMG Chromebook, or if you're on Google Plus, go to the Chromebook community and learn something. Just like, I mean, if you were switching to Linux, there'd be quite a learning curve, and you can learn, what sudo space apt dash get, update means.
Yeah. And you really expect mom and pop to do that?
You know what? Years ago, and I'm saying this same years ago, I'm 63 now. Do you know who made up the largest majority of computer user groups 10 years ago? They were people
Seniors.
They were seniors. They were people 55 and older.
You know why?
So
You know why?
They had time.
They wanted to learn more.
Well, they
Right.
know that. I believe they had time also.
Yeah, but they wanted to learn more. It's because this is why in the beginning years there were news groups and they faded away. It's because people needed to learn, and there was no internet to learn from. You had to meet people who are in your circle who know more, and they would get up there and give presentations how to do this and how to do that. And yes, I think it's still the situation. I mean, you still see a lot of people getting together to talk about the same thing that they're interested in because they learn from each other. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I really don't think, I mean, anybody disagree with me that mom and pop are not going to sit down and their sudos and all these commands? No, because today we have a GUI interface, a graphical interface.
I would just say, in the same way that a lot of older people have gotten iPads from their kids and they love it, they don't even use theirs anymore.
Right.
I think an older person, for what they do, thinking about what they do, would be able to have as successful experience with a Chromebook, with the exception of games.
I don't agree. I don't disagree when you say can have. But but you're putting it, the way that I understood it is that everybody should do it like that. That's what I disagree with you. Not everybody is going to or should use the Chromebook the way that you do. Everybody can. Absolutely,
right.
everybody
and that's
can.
obvious. I mean, not everybody should install Adobe Photoshop on their PCs.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's anybody could learn how to do what you're doing. I mean, obviously, it's not magic what you're doing. It's just understanding the technology and taking it a step further than what everyday person does. All right. That was good.
I think Chromebooks have a place. I'm looking at the worldwide PC tablet shipments Q3 numbers from IDC, and it shows PCs 63%, tablets 36%, which is growing quarter over quarter, and Chromebooks 1%. And the comment about the sales numbers is that Chromebooks are in the same category as PCs, where they are not growing as fast as tablets are because they are not a tablet replacement. So it's interesting to see the numbers. Anybody remember thin clients back in the 90s, where they had several companies made these appliance-based PCs that had no hard disk and they would boot over the network? It was meant for corporations, obviously, because there was no way to do that at home. But it was essentially a reuse of the same idea behind the dumb terminal that was started in the 60s. But the same idea is there again, now that we have the infrastructure to support it. And appliance-based stuff that's got to get its applications off the network, and now with Chromebook being able to download them, it'll find its place. And it's very useful for the people who can use it.
And it absolutely has its place. It's needed. Yeah. All right, now
Interesting.
Pinterest could be in trouble now. A British firm successfully claimed ownership of the European trademark Pinterest, even though it has not yet used the term in any public products. Pinterest was formed in 2011 and popular by 2011, but did not launch in Europe until 2012, months after the UK company Premium Interest had registered the trademark. That trademark has now been confirmed by the European Commission's Office for the Harmonization in the Internet Market. I love the names they have over there. Since so much of Pinterest business is based on its name, the ruling could force Pinterest to change its name, a move which has precedents. Microsoft is changing the name of SkyDrive because it infringes the trademark of British broadcaster BSkyB, normally known as Sky. Mike, what situations do you know of that a known company had to change names or logos or whatever because of court rulings, off the top of your head?
Tons of them. I mean, I don't know that I can name any of them at the moment,
Okay.
but mostly they're smaller companies you haven't heard of that start using a name or trademark of another company. They get a cease and desist letter, then they change it. And again, by the very nature of the problem, you haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. It usually happens when people don't do research as to what names are already in use, if they can even use that name. But the other problem that they run into is people tend to treat trademarks like domain names. They think if they can change one letter or one spelling, then they can avoid infringing someone else's trademark. But that's not the standard test for infringement. It's likelihood of confusion. For example, if Windows, WINDOWS, is a registered trademark, if someone were out using WINDOZE to sell an operating system, there is no question they would be absolutely convicted of infringement because Windows are pronounced exactly the same way. It's not just the literal spelling, it is the overall commercial impression that is the test for whether there is infringement.
Boy, I don't see it really hurting. It's easier said than done. Hurting a company to change its name. So, fine. The people are still there. Everything is still working the same way. It's just instead of Pinterest would go with
for a company like Pinterest. I don't believe that they had. I believe they're a site like Twitter where they're not really making any money.
I have no idea.
I might
don't
be
know.
completely wrong with that.
I don't know.
On a site, if you look at a site like Twitter, if Twitter had to change its name, the company is useless because its name is worth everything. I mean, it doesn't make any money. So if it's a company that's
Good point.
like Microsoft that's making money from selling products, if they had to change their name,
Yeah,
they'd still have their services to make money off of. But you take a company that's its
Good.
estimated worth is just the name. Well, now your company's screwed and you have nothing to show except users and a new domain name.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Spencer, we're going to have specials after all, or you are not going to be able to?
We do.
Okay.
I did it while I was sitting here. Tiger Direct still has no weekly ad. I don't understand what's going on. The last one was for the 3 days before Christmas.
Maybe they're closing.
The store. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Maybe they're just saving money. They're cutting back. I don't know.
Yeah.
The store. I did find some things online, but there's nothing that says that that's the price they would get in the store. So
Is the ad that you look at, is it an online ad or a paper ad?
I used to do all paper ads until today's paper had no paper ads in it. None. Not
Wow.
from any of the office supplies, Best Buy, nothing.
We still get those.
So-
That's interesting.
Yeah,
They all have them
January is a
online.
low. January they don't put much because they spent so much money before.
Oh yeah,
the
but I mean,
holidays.
even to put your ad up online, I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to print
Yeah.
it.
Well, I
you
think
look-
that's.
you
I
see
think
it
that's what.
online, and it is a representation of the paper ad.
Yeah, and
So
you
it's
see
not-
that you see it there, right?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
turn the pages in the
Yeah.
way it presents itself.
It's just that they don't put it in the paper because it costs
Yeah.
them.
Although Best Buy doesn't do it that way. They have their own online.
Listen to this. Unless somebody wants to chime in and say something.
I don't want to listen to you. There you go.
The Toronto Star's lead article today is Canada courting U.S. web giants in wake of NSA spy scandal. An effort to convince them their customer data is safer here. This follows related moves like Cisco moving R&D to Toronto. Industry Canada will neither confirm nor deny that European and U.S. companies are negotiating to move confidential data away from the U.S. Politically depends on recent blocking legislation to get around cases like United States versus Bank of Nova Scotia, where U.S. courts extradited Canadian bank records to the U.S., contrary to Canadian law. You understand. I don't know why these people think that if they move it to Canada, it's out of the NSA's grips. But it's interesting that something like this is happening, that Canada is trying to court big companies to go there. Just, it's safer here. I thought that was the Vietnam thing, but here it is.
Did you see the story about how it was not a brand new story, it was back in November, about a company called Bricks Cable, which provides undersea cables for internet access. They're building a separate internet now for the countries that they provide service to. Not that many, although they do supply it to Russia, China, Singapore, India, South Africa, and what looks like Brazil. They'll have a connection through Miami into the main internet, and they're going to have some type of filtering system to cut off the NSA eavesdropping. Oh, yeah.
What else? We were sitting in a hangout. What was it? Friday night? Saturday? No, Friday night. And Nick says, "Oh no." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Dropbox was just hacked." Tell Nick.
So, was it Friday night?
I think so. Yeah.
So Friday night, I was browsing around on Twitter, and somebody had retweeted a hacker that claimed that they compromised Dropbox. And just like whenever these things happen, the company always says, no, we weren't compromised. So Dropbox was down for, I think, an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. And when they came back up, they said that it was just routine maintenance that went wrong and nothing was leaked. And I haven't heard anything about it since. So I would assume that it was just routine maintenance. But 2 or 3 different hacking groups all claimed that they had taken down Dropbox. But in reality, it appears that it was just an issue with some routine maintenance that they were doing.
The story on TechCrunch says that it was a hoax, that it was hacked.
Yeah.
TechCrunch said that it was for real.
Well, yeah, they said it was real because before Dropbox came back up, everybody did think it was real because you had these well-known groups claiming that they had taken all user information. But in reality, it really, from what everybody seems to be saying, it just appears that it really was just routine server maintenance that went wrong.
Just went through an exercise for a small company that I do IT work for, where they were discussing a secure way of sharing files, and went back and forth between having a small cloud drive in-house to having external. And they've been using Dropbox, and now with new restrictions that they're under for security, Dropbox now offers a business service which has up to 256-bit encryption, which you have to pay quite a bit more for. But it sounds like, I believe it's in beta form now, but it does allow an administrator to control the access rights to a group, to restrict it. They can't share with somebody outside of the group. The users can't. And they can actually knock users off change their privileges on the fly, remove access. So it sounds like they're trying to get into the business side. And in this case, the person needs to have that encryption because they're under very strict SEC rules as to what files can be shared and how they're shared. So online cloud services are acceptable as long as they provide the 256-bit encryption and access control. I tried to sell them on a additional network drive in the office just as a third level backup, and I hope they do it. Inexpensive way to just in case save stuff.
What?
What?
I missed something. What about a third drive?
No, I was saying that they were among the people that work for the small company to use Dropbox using encryption with the new service. But I said I would like them also to consider having a in-house network drive with encryption as another way of backing up their files and having access. Should the internet go down, they'll still be able to access these client files. And it's an automation project where they're getting rid of and scanning in all paper documents, so there'll be some things that they keep, but most of the things that they have.
Yeah, and it's local, and it's just like the other thing we were talking about, Nick, that password thing.
What?
Remember the password server password?
Oh, the LastPass, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you are storing whatever you're storing on a publicly available source that everybody knows, and it becomes something, like here's Dropbox, and they know that there's a lot of stuff there that they can benefit from, or here's that LastPass that, passwords for everybody that stores their passwords, then that site is going to be attacked and people are going to try and break into it. While if you're not using Dropbox and you have a NAS drive locally on your intranet, what are the chances that it will get hacked from outside?
Yeah, it's much less.
I mean,
likely.
people don't know that even exists. Only the people that are in IT know about this. So you are minimizing the chances, but it's not off site. So there's something to look into it. But to have something on site is, I mean, this is why I don't like when people build a website and they put some information on the website that comes from outside sources. And it takes forever to load the page. Or sometimes if that service is down, your page takes forever to load. And you try to explain to them. And I mean, I use some information that comes from outside, but I go and I capture all the images and everything and store them locally and change the code to make it bring, and only get a little bit from outside. And if it's not there, it just sits there.
So if you're on WordPress, you got a lot of stuff from outside sources.
If you have a lot of stuff, that's a different story.
WordPress loads a lot of things, I believe, from Google, whatever Google service, it pulls a lot of stuff from there.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
Can I quickly bring something up before we
Absolutely.
Go on?
Yeah.
So Andrew Zarian's in chat, and his show, What the Tech, has been nominated for the 2013 Stitcher Awards. And I think today's the last day. I'm not sure.
Yep. Yeah. Yesterday he said 2 more days. Yeah.
There's the link for that. You just have to sign in on Facebook. And if you scroll down about 3/4 of the way, there's a section that says
Something in technology.
Best is technology, and all you do is click on the What the Tech logo and then click a vote at the bottom, and you can do that. I guess today's the last day, so signed up for that.
Do it.
That'd help him out.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Has anybody applied for SoundCloud's podcaster beta program and gotten in?
I didn't know they started offering one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What do they do?
They do, and they'll give you an RSS feed.
Okay.
I was just curious if any of you guys had done that.
SoundCloud.
No, it's still audio only, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I knew I know we have Bruce here. We keep him for something.
Well, I tell you, TalkShoe's really been having some issues, and I'll be honest with you, Bamboozer, I can't hardly stream to Bamboozer anymore.
I know.
Dropping frames.
I
don't know what's happening to them.
I have no idea. I think they're cutting down on their bandwidth, and then all the usage is bringing it up to the point where it's oversubscribed. I mean, since we started, it dropped 125. That's not too bad. I mean, I've seen it in 1 hour, but 900 and some.
Wait, did you say 125 frames?
Yeah.
That's nothing. That could be a hiccup on your internet.
Yeah, I know. That's nothing today.
Yeah, what I'm talking about last night is trying to send an 800 kbps stream to Bamboozer and dropping 500 frames within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it's not. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it so we can can get from under it.
I will tell you, I'm getting a lot more interaction on SoundCloud than I ever did on TalkShoe. And once I get into this podcaster program with them and get an RSS feed through SoundCloud, I'm going to. I'm thankful for TalkShoe for these years of service, but I'm probably going to move and change my iTunes information to the new feed.
Well, it's everything. Anything that comes out that's newer is going to be better. If they're serious about providing the service, then they can see what mistakes are being made on the existing services and say, okay, we can make it better here. We'll add this, and we'll make sure that this, and so. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, the nice thing about it, I mean, you have SoundCloud app for your iPhone or your Android, as I do, and you can actually record and send an audio, directly, and you can do a podcast on the fly. I still stay on BossJock Studio for, please work on providing an Android version of BossJock. I think that would be really, really great. And I wish Mixler would come up with a mobile phone app.
I thought I read something that they did. Mike, didn't they?
They do for iOS, but they haven't released the Android app yet.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce, did you see that the speculation on the Galaxy 5S is that it will have an iris scanning technology?
Yeah. It seems so ludicrous to me to hear Samsung report that when the Galaxy 5S comes out, that they're going, quote, back to the basics. And with all the crapware and the stuff that they throw against the wall to see if it'll stick on the Note 3 and the S4, I can't trust them when they say they're going back to the basics.
So you have the one with the fingerprint authentication, and when people steal it from you, they cut off your finger. Now they're going to take your eye out.
Yeah. And hence the saying, I'll keep an eye out for you.
That's right.
But I heard the Tim Cook and the CEO of Samsung had a meeting last week. Maybe they're trying to bury the hatchet.
In each other's back?
Anybody heard anything else about that situation with the Samsung CEO that walked off the stage?
Because at the CES where he had the presentation wasn't working right and he couldn't ad lib, so he just said just walked off the stage.
Yeah, the
I watched the video.
The teleprompter stopped working. It looked like he was trying, but he couldn't. That's amazing that somebody like that could not.
It seemed like the guy that was interviewing was leading him on pretty good. I think if he could have just followed with the questions, he'd have done all right.
Yeah. So anything came after that?
He apologized on Twitter.
Wow. Oh well.
Amnon, have you bought your ticket on Virgin Galactic? They're getting ready to start taking paying passengers. They just had another test flight where they flew the Spaceship Two. This is the one that carries passengers, and they did the first supersonic rocket test this past week, and supposedly by the end of this year they'll start taking passengers.
To where?
I don't know. They might not come back. They might just take
these are the guys that are going to Mars.
They're going to take them up into space, but it's not into orbit. They're not going to reach escape velocity and go into orbit. They take them up into the, I guess it's like 90 miles, 110 miles, something like that, and then they just come back. They don't actually they're not fast enough to go into orbit, but it will definitely be weightless. Don't you remember the tests they had where the Spaceship One, it went up and it would essentially get above the atmosphere, and they would change the configuration of the wings so that it would be kind of start to drop back and start to create drag, and then reconfigure the wings again and then fly back. It was actually very, very clever way to get around the whole re-entry thing. I don't know if it would work if you were in orbit because you're going a hell of a lot faster around. There was not all that much forward speed. You have to be going over 17,000 miles an hour to reach escape velocity to get out of the Earth's orbit or Earth's gravitational field to get into orbit. But fascinating. Where I was reading the article though about it, it was interesting because some of the comments were Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the first guys that's going to go up with Richard Branson on the first flight, and both of them are big-time environmentalists.
Yeah, and I hope it's a one-way ticket.
The comment that was that one flight of Spaceship Two puts enough emissions into the atmosphere that would come from generating power from New York City for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, kind of interesting. I guess I'll have to buy a lot of carbon credits.
Oh, I'll go to them. The Virginia Court of Appeals has ruled that people leaving negative feedback for a carpet cleaning service are not allowed to remain anonymous. Yelp must unmask 7 critics to the carpet cleaner who feels that they might not even be real customers. And that's interesting. I mean, you can go and leave really bad comments on a competitor site to make them look really bad. And if you're not, and if they don't know who you are, what can they do?
You know where this is also an issue?
Where?
Amazon. People will go on an Amazon product and leave reviews for a product that they look at and they don't even own, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Like you should. I think you shouldn't be able to for a site like that. For you to be able to leave a review, the company should have to prove that you were a customer of them by name.
I don't think people should be able to get into it unless they bought something. I mean, I thought that's the way it works.
Not on Amazon, and it should be the exact same way on Amazon. If they see you buy a product, you can leave a review. If you didn't buy the product, you should not be allowed to. I mean, I could go on a computer right now on Amazon and leave a 1-star review saying it was the worst thing I've ever used.
Wow.
And knowing Amazon clearly knows I don't have it or never did buy it from Amazon.
Never bought it. Interesting. So that's different than the way eBay works.
For you to leave a review, they have to know that you bought it.
Yeah, well, you don't have access to leave feedback unless.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Did anybody have any issues this past week with updates that were posted by Microsoft? So I got a urgent call from somebody with a blue screen problem. It was not on booting. It was during use, about an hour or so in, that the machine kept blue screening. And he sent me a screen capture or he actually took a picture of the page. He couldn't send me a screen capture, obviously.
Yeah.
But and I did some research on it. It turned out to be an update that's been out there since March that would, at some point, corrupt the video driver on Dell and HP laptops that use a certain AMD chipset. And it was interesting to see the process to remove the driver if you're not aware, or not the driver, but the update itself. So it is possible that if you do find out that an update is corrupt, you can go into a control panel and then to add remove programs and then look under Windows Update and go in there. There's a process to look at when updates were applied and actually back one off and then essentially forget it, they call it, where you can say, don't ever install this one in the future. Basically, take it out of the list of in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was, and I read about it, and it was apparently, it shows up every few months and takes out a bunch of laptops.
Donovan is saying something that Amazon will actually notate that you purchased the product on your review. So if you don't, does it say this person?
I'm going to look right now. Let me look at something I recently bought. And I'll just type up a quick review of it. Let's see here. All right, here's a phone case.
I don't understand why anybody should be able to even say a word about anything that they didn't buy there.
We had a lot of fun with a product one time. It was a set of audio cables that were $11,000. It was, and so people were writing comments about it, and but it was fictitious comments, and you could tell it was sarcasm. So I also wrote a review of this $11,000 audio cable. It was a mistake. It wasn't supposed to be priced at that, but it was fun.
So Amazon, it does say Amazon verified purchase, but you should not even be allowed to.
I know.
To write a review.
That's
the most idiotic thing ever. Because I guarantee you, if I go to the 1-star reviews, people are dogging on it. They don't even have it. Let me see.
Instead of saying,
the first 3 things on the first 3 1-star reviews do not have Amazon verified purchase next to it. So these people probably bought a knockoff phone case that was similar.
Yeah.
Or just reviewed it because they're idiots.
But I think it's sort of like the opt-in or opt-out. I think it should, never mind, they shouldn't put there that it actually purchased. I think they should put this one did not purchase.
That would probably be. Or, just not even let them do anything.
Yeah, not letting them. That's the way it should be. It's not letting them.
Yeah. There's something else Amazon's doing that now I'm getting emails where they're asking me to review their shipping. I like to review, the device on the page. You get email reminders about that, but now you get email reminders from Amazon asking you to review the shipping process, and you got questions like, was it packaged right? Was it the right size? Did it come on time? And stuff like that. I find that a little annoying, although I can understand why they might be trying to do that.
Well, hey Nick, you and Sean were playing with something called MeshNet. Do you have
wasn't
enough
playing with- I
information
wasn't
in your
playing.
head to talk about it?
No,
Okay.
no, I can't talk about it.
Oh, and Dan was asking about Amazon posting policy. I wasn't reading anything about the. This was done. It's not on Amazon, Dan. Was done for somebody somewhere else on a carpet cleaning service, and it was on Yelp that they should unmask the names to the vendor to see if these were real customers, and that's
because
when
for all we know, it's a competitor cleaning services
Yep.
staff.
right. That's when Nick brought up for the fact that on Amazon it's sort of like the same, except
Yeah.
they put a note there that if you are a real purchaser. No, it's interesting. I mean, from what I've heard, Sean talk with Nick. It's sort of like Spencer, our wireless mesh, but they call it MeshNet, and it's like people are trying to
People are just trying to overthrow ISPs.
reinvent or rebuild or create a second layer internet, or whatever you want to call it, by just having people all over with wireless running some software that will allow everybody to become the network, and you can actually connect all across the country if there were enough hops, available hops and practical hops that from one to the next. It's nice, and apparently they have. What did you say in where was it? Seattle.
Seattle's a big area for it. And it's kind of a useless thing. The people that are currently working on it they're not open to new people. So
Oh,
yeah,
but
no,
you can have your own intranet kind of. That's what
but like
they
this
have.
is you could have hosted your own internet in the past. I mean it's
Yeah.
just the name really. I mean
That's it's an interesting concept, but I don't know. It's going to take a lot. It's sort of like
I think we talked about the story about how there are companies, especially in the financial space, that are putting in private microwave infrastructure. That's because they're even with the latency of the microwave, hop to hop, they can get a faster return response time because they're trading. These are companies that trade in microseconds where they'll buy a stock and sell the stock immediately, and that's all they do all day. And if they can save a half a second of latency per transaction, it adds up to millions of dollars a year for them. So they're actually bypassing service providers and putting in their own microwave links. They found that it was actually faster than running fiber. For some reason.
but here it's actually in order to create a situation where you don't rely on the conventional internet.
Well, this is what they're doing. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, but I mean,
because
it's for a specific thing. Over there, I mean, they're putting mail servers and they're putting
I
web
understand.
servers, and I mean, but it's not open to the general public. It's only open to people that are involved in it, and that's, I think, it's a nice concept. But until there are enough people who are going to go into it, it's not going to work, and people are not going to go into it unless they see something, a payback.
yeah, I had a conversation with
So
with somebody that was involved, and they just, I told the guy I was interested in it, and they just don't seem to be willing to help anybody else out that's not privy to all the technology. So, it'll never go anywhere.
Well, it'll go somewhere, but it's not going to do what they
well,
think.
yeah, I mean, unless you're already knowing how to do that stuff, then they're never gonna.
Yeah.
we're going to be interested in having you as part of it, which is fine.
Spence, you want to do the specials?
Sure.
Go for it so you could leave.
There are no specials today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, next.
We do have a few things out there we're talking about, and a product I'd like to highlight for a little discussion. All right, starting with Best Buy. They've got Targus laptop power supplies on sale. The standard one for $49.99, save $10. The one that's got the fast USB charger port in it for $59, save $10. So you can save a little clutter in your travel gear. Dell 11.6-inch AMD A6 touchscreen laptop for $329.99. They've got very attractive desktop bundles on sale, desktop and LED monitors to save $30, $40, $50 over the separate prices. Let's take a look at that if you're interested in desktop. Dell i3 desktop with a 20-inch monitor for $499.99, save $140. They've got a 23-inch Lenovo i3 all-in-one touchscreen PC for $679.99, save $40. Acer 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save $40. Insignia 24-inch LED monitor for $109.99, save $90. This is the best price on this keyboard and mouse combo. Logitech MK320 wireless desktop, $24.99, save $15. They've also got a CyberPower 625 VA, roughly 450 watt battery backup unit for $44.99, save $20. That's at Best Buy. Office Depot, 15.6-inch Toshiba i3 laptop, 8 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive for $379, save $220 with a mail-in rebate. 15.6-inch HP i3 touchscreen laptop, $479.99, save $180. An Asus 10.1-inch convertible laptop for $379.99. This is where it's a touchscreen tablet that you can snap the keyboard on, and it hinges like an Ultrabook. It's $20 off. Samsung 21.5-inch LED monitor for $119, save $30. Something called the Blue Lounge cable box cable management system for $29.99. It looks just like a box with a bunch of slots on the side, but it could be useful. You can actually take and hide all your connectors, coil up some cable. If you've got a mess behind your desk like I've got, I don't think it would be big enough, but in some cases it's enough to neaten up a desktop. Seagate 1 terabyte portable USB 3.0 hard drive, $69.99, save $20. Seagate 4 terabyte USB 3.0 desktop drive for $169.99, save $10. HP Mono wireless laser printer for $99, save $60. Dell 8-inch Windows tablet for $269.99, save $30. That's at Office Depot. At Office Max, we've got a Brother all-in-one laser printer scanner copier with duplex printing, $129.99. This is with wired networking. It's $50 off. They've got the Brother, very similar looking printer scanner fax copier mono laser. It does not come with duplex printing, but it is a fax machine. Same price, $129.99, with wired networking for $70 off. They've got the Logitech MK270 wireless keyboard and mouse combo. I've never seen this one before. It must be a new product, kind of an entry level. $19.99, save $10. 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save $10. HP 11.6-inch AMD A4 touchscreen laptop for $329.99, save $100. They've got a Lenovo 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop for $549.99, save $150. And an entry-level desktop from Lenovo, AMD E2 processor for $229.99, save $90. That's at Office Max. Staples has 16 gig SDHC or USB flash drive for $9. That's $5 off. 24-inch LED monitor for $139.99, save $40. 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save $30. They've got the standard price, but a good router, Netgear N300 Wi-Fi router for $44.99. A Logitech K400 wireless keyboard touchpad. This is the one that's especially useful for a media center where you don't want to have an extra mouse. It's got the glide pad built into the keyboard itself. $29.99, save $10. They've got a clearance on the Asus Android tablet, 10.1 inch, $199.99, save $80. Belkin Wireless Home Bundle for controlling appliances. Actually, what it is it's a app for your smartphone and a Wi-Fi control outlet. And they've got one for appliances, the 3-prong plug for $99.99. They've got a light switch for $49.99, which is probably a dimmer also. And they have one that's just called a switch, which I guess would just be a on-off. It wouldn't have a dimmer, also for $49.99. It's something new that showed up. Here's the product I want to talk about. Dell C1660W color laser printer, $99, $100 off. And the only reason I mention this is because I went and checked on the toner, and the comments on this printer are that it's a very good printer. But they said that the initial cartridges that you buy run out very quickly. Buy another set of cartridges. At first, when it was first shipping, they're hard, but now you can buy on Amazon and eBay. eBay has a toner set, which is the black and the 4-color cartridges for $42.
Wow.
That's shipped, free shipping. That same set is available on Amazon, free shipping too, for about $56. The retail cost I saw for the actual Dell cartridges around $38 each. So you could buy this printer, and it's cheaper than buying the 4 cartridges. Now, you will get the starter set cartridges, but for $42, you can fill them up with new. And the only comment about it was about the availability of the cartridges. And now they're out there. So a color laser printer, I believe it's made by HP for Dell, $99.99, $100 off. That's at Staples. And there's a few things worth mentioning at Tiger Direct. Now, these are prices I got off the webpage. It doesn't say it's a store price. It could be an online price. They do have 8 gig of desktop memory for $49.99 with a mail-in rebate. 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99. 22-inch for $119.99. A 23-inch for the same price, $119.99. And a 24-inch for $139.99. And they also have the, this is what you need, Amnon, the Dell 29-inch super wide HD monitor. You look at this thing, it looks like 2 monitors put together. It's 29-inch diagonal, but it's not much higher than a regular monitor. $699.99. I think you should run right out and buy that.
And I'm going to do with it what?
Whatever. It's because it's cool. You got to buy it.
Yep.
He's going to use it to mirror his new Chromebook.
That's it. I wonder how it deals with the desktop when you put a monitor that's that wide, but it's not 3x4 or what's the other resolution for widescreen? 16 by something.
9.
16 by 9. It's not that. It's very wide, but it's only got the height of a regular monitor. So interesting monitor. You should buy that Amnon and build a wall of monitors and buy a controller that lets you distribute the display amongst those monitors.
Okay.
Like they used to do at trade shows.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Thank you.
Well, I've since found out in a subsequent phone call that there are major server issues that's causing the internet outage here. So they're working on it, but they have no ETA as to when it'll be back up. So patience is the word.
Our skilled technicians are actively diagnosing the problem. Please stand by.
Right.
What they don't tell you is that they have one skilled technician. So that it'll be on for the next 3 days.
And the rest of the guys are just disconnecting and connecting cables, hoping it'll fix it. And punching buttons.
Oh, well. Let's see. Here's something that we were talking about for a long time. According to security company Sophos, around 55% of home users and 18% of enterprise users have updated to Mavericks, the latest version of Mac OS. Unfortunately, Apple appears to have stopped providing security updates for older versions. Indeed, they list Mavericks itself as a security update. This means that the majority of users are no longer getting critical security patches. Sophos recommends taking similar precautions for those recommended for people who cannot upgrade from Windows XP. So if only 55% of Mac users upgraded to Mavericks, which is their latest OS, 45% are not getting any more security patches.
There should be no security patches. It's perfect.
That's right. I forget. Oh,
yeah, you forgot.
Never mind. That whole thing was surprised. I'm surprised that Mike didn't say that.
Come
Mike,
on, Amnon. You know better.
Mike, what are you doing?
About 15 different things. Why?
I know, because I see your eyes all over the place.
Well, I added a new monitor over here, too, and that's interesting. I now have 5 monitors I'm looking at.
Can we hear what do you have the computers connected to? Or what do you have the monitors connected to?
2 on my new i7, 2 on my old i7, and 1 on my XP.
Cool. So you've got 2 monitors per i7, which is nice.
Right. I need one more. I need a second one on the XP machine because there's some things when I'm doing Rick's house. I have some little programs running that I need to be able to monitor in real time, but I don't need to be able to access normally. And so that way it's going to be on this monitor that I just added on the wall up here. I found a neat little swing arm mount for it. I don't remember where I got it. It was only like $10 or $15, and the darn thing is solid as a rock.
Progress. Bexar County in Texas has opened a new $2.3 million library called Bibliothèque. It doesn't have physical books, only computers and e-reader tablets. It is the first bookless public library system in the U.S. The library opened in an area without nearby bookstores and is receiving considerable attention. It has drawn visitors from around the U.S. and overseas that are studying the concept for their own use. It appears that the library will have more than 100,000 visitors by year's end. Going without physical books has been cost-effective from an architecture standpoint, since the building doesn't have to support the weight of books and bookshelves. A new, smaller library in a nearby town cost $1 million more than Bexar County's new library. So far, there doesn't appear to be a problem with returning checked-out e-readers. A new state law in Texas defined the failure to return library books as theft. So I was wondering how long it's going to take before we replace a bookshelf of books with just a CD shelf that has 30 CD-ROMs on it.
Why would you go to a building to read a book off of an e-reader? I'm really confused.
Well, maybe you can't check it online yet.
Then, well, if you can't get it online, then how can they get it online?
I don't know, and it seems
they're
like
browsing the same catalog that we are.
Wait, also, it seems like they are. What you are checking out something. You're checking out an e-reader.
So that e-reader just has that book on it?
I don't know.
See, that's what I don't understand here. Is you're just checking out a tablet with a library to an e-reader. What's the whole? Yeah. Is that really a library? You're just checking out a device.
You're checking out the device, and maybe they load the book on it.
But
Or maybe you load the book.
so that's what I'm saying though. So the tablet that you have is just good for one book. Is what I'm taking away from that.
I guess. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I think that's idiotic.
That's a waste. Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, God, if you have Amazon Prime, you can get books for free on Amazon's store. The books
Yeah,
are-
but it's not
books are
like going to the
inexpensive.
library. Library, you find all kind of books that you're not going to find on Amazon.
Oh, and that's the thing, is that they can't offer that because they're pulling from the same ebook library that everybody else is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody sat there and took all the books in the library and scanned them to PDFs, and I don't know. It's just interesting.
It is interesting.
It was a bad time for something like this to happen, I guess. And the only other thing here that I have, I think you're going to talk about that Gaikai,
Okay.
cloud-based gaming.
Oh, yeah. So this is just this is another one of these cloud-based gaming attempts, and if we remember, 2 or 3 years ago, there was a device called OnLive, and they tried to accomplish the same thing. The whole point of this is, like something with the Xbox or the PlayStation. It's a physical device with a game disc reader, and you buy the games, insert the game, and play it. These online services, you pay for the game through their service, and it streams the game to your system. And if you know anything about the internet, there's latency. So that's the big issue, and that was the big issue with the service OnLive, is that there was just an extreme amount of latency, so that when you're playing a game, you get instant response, or almost instant response, from your controller. But when you're waiting for something on the internet to get streamed back to you, you run into this issue where you move forward, and then half a second later you actually move forward. So I guess we'll see what'll happen with it. I don't see how you can stream games over the cloud. I think it's idiotic.
Well, according to this is for a remote service would run the game and stream all graphics and sound to the player's device, which would allow underpowered or obsolete machines to run modern, graphically demanding games on high settings. So it seems like you'll be using it just as a terminal. But again, there's going to be latency. I don't care anywhere you look at it, there's going to be latency.
Yeah, it's useless if there's latency. You can't play a game with latency.
Yeah.
Doesn't. I mean, how can you play a multiplayer game where you're trying to shoot other people with latency? I mean, you see them on your screen, you shoot, but it takes half a second to respond that they're shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't work. They're already out of the way in half a second.
And talk about games. Nick now has a, what do you call it? A game
what?
server?
Yeah.
That's what you call it, right?
Yeah.
How do people get there if they want to play games?
Well, it's not they can't play games. You have to have a game to play.
Oh,
Yeah.
explain.
What do you want me to explain? I'm not sure what you're asking.
They have to have the game in order to play it?
How else would you play it?
So all the people that I see on the server have
They own the game. Yeah.
they own that particular game,
Yep.
and what do you provide them with?
The server.
And if you weren't there, they could not connect to each other. I don't know how those games are working. So
Yeah. No. It's just just like anything else. You have a computer. You connect to the internet. You have to have the computer to connect to the internet to
Right.
talk to somebody else. It's the exact same thing. You don't have the game. You don't connect to the other people.
I see.
Yeah.
So is there more than one type of game that goes on? Because I always see the same game.
Yeah. No. It is always the same game.
And what do you call it?
Gary's mod.
Huh?
Gary's mod.
Gary's Mod.
There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just because people don't normally play
Yeah,
it.
but
So.
but you want people to go there and you want people to donate. So
But you have to have the game.
yeah, I understand. I don't know. So there it is. That's what you need to tell people. If you have Gary's Mod, sounds like it's a modification of something. Is that an
No.
actual name game?
No, it's the actual name.
And you want to play with others, you can go there and I'm saying you can go there. I don't know where there is.
You can just go to our forums, and there's a link on there. RaiderGaming.net/forums. But you have to have the game, so it's not like something anybody can go to.
Yeah, I have a question. I just posted it in chat too.
I see that.
I've got a request from a relative who's looking for a good antenna-friendly DVR. They're in a situation where they can't replace their VCR because it's their digital TV, obviously, unless they got a separate tuner, which they do, and want something that has a built-in digital tuner. They sent me a device to look at, and it had terrible reviews. And I know TiVo says they have 2 antenna-friendly versions, but I think you have to buy the service from them. In addition to that, they have broadband wireless where they are through Verizon. They're in a rural area of Florida and have no access to wired broadband, so it's not their plan would not allow them to be downloading or connecting the device to stream. Does anybody have any recommendations? Let me know.
Interesting.
Got to look here. I'm looking at TiVo has 2 boxes, but they both support streaming. They have, I believe you'd have to probably buy the service too, right? It's buy and it's plus service. I wonder if you have to actually take the service. Service required, yes. Okay.
So they already have the antenna?
They have a digital. Obviously, they're using television over digital. They have a couple of converters.
Okay.
Connected to their TVs, and they want a way that they can not have to use the converters, something that's got a built-in digital antenna so they can record shows like they did with their VCR, which is now kaput.
Why not a cheap PC with a tuner?
Not going to happen. They're 80 years old. So, yeah, I know I could build a
They were
VCR with a
recording.
digital tuner, but
There were
there
were
got to be
record-
something. It's got to operate like a VCR would operate.
Do they need a VCR?
Well, they don't want it. They have a VCR, and
Oh, I thought you said it was kaput.
recording using the digital converter,
Yeah.
and the VCR broke. And
Okay.
They don't want to bother with another VCR. They would rather get a DVR.
So they want to get a DVR and learn how to use it and all that, but they don't want to get a computer and do the same thing with.
My uncle's 83, and he's good with a computer. But this is what they asked me. This is what they were
Interesting.
looking at, and they want to get something that's simple.
Yeah, but
As a remote.
are they asking this because they don't know that they can do it with a PC?
Oh, they know they do, but unless you can't go out. I don't even know if you can buy a ready-built media PC, but it's going to cost a lot more than a DVR for $150.
So you need like a digital DVR.
Yeah, I mean they make them. They sent me a link to something on Amazon that was $200 that had a built-in digital tuner, but the reviews were terrible, saying the digital tuner was awful, just didn't work very well. So they have decent digital TV service where they are. They're sitting somewhere between Tampa and Orlando, out in rural Florida, and they have a very good antenna. They put up a new antenna when digital TV came out, and they can get digital probably 25 stations. But they would like to be able to have the convenience of a remote and recording on-screen programming of the recording like you would have with a VCR.
So I haven't looked at this device, but a Google search pulled up this thing on eBay, which I think appears. It looks like it would do what they want.
So it's not just a DVR; it's a DVR with
No, it needs to be the tuner. Yeah.
tuner.
Well, they free DVR. Media function, free DVR.
I mean, this thing just looks like a cable box with DVR hookup or with antenna
Wonder
hookups.
what DVR function means.
Recording.
Well, it may just be that it has the connection to do something. Maybe it doesn't have the hard drive.
Oh, he makes a good point. Yeah.
I'm
I
wondering.
didn't think about that. Because it does say, if you look at the box, it says free DVR and it shows a PC. I wonder if that's what the USB thing is for. Or you have to hook it up to a computer. Let me see. Main function. PVR functionality. HDMI out, USB input.
Yeah, it's too cheap to just be a DVR or to be a DVR.
Let's see. Digital display. They say there's a video on it right here. If they showed hooked up.
They're being they're wishy-washy about the information of the DVR. There's nothing. I don't see anything straightforward that says, you cannot record. You have to add
But that wouldn't be
HDMI
that wouldn't be a
out.
DVR.
Yeah.
To add media is not necessarily. It's not a DVR.
HDMI USB converter box with DVR.
No.
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing on the actual picture here that tells you.
Nope.
Free DVR, and then I can't read the print. It's too small.
It says connect digital TV broadcast. Yeah, this box is too big to just be a digital converter, though. There's got to be a hard drive in this thing. I mean, the size of the box is.
I think it's smaller than you think.
You think so?
Based on the size of the display that says scan on the front and the USB port, look at how small it is.
True. But the digital converter boxes they have now are extremely small. I mean, those things are like the size of like a phone.
Yeah, they
Oh,
could
no,
use a
but
2.5-inch drive, but I mean the price. I don't know that the price.
Okay, no. I read it right here. HDMI output, newer TVs, USB input, which means you can record TV programs to a USB drive. That's what you would need to do, USB drive to do the DVR, and then you can watch it through the HDMI input because it says USB drive. It will play music or movies to the USB input. Very unique feature. So you record to the USB. So it doesn't have a hard drive built in. You record to the USB drive and you play it off the USB.
That's actually good because that means you can use more than one drive and record. And Spence, you were looking for doing something like this for a long time to be able to record, and it fills up. I didn't.
The machines that I built to do that and just had really poor quality results. So
how's eBay's return policy?
How did what?
Nah,
I wonder how the return policy is.
That's individual. It's for the individual because remember, it's not eBay that's selling it. It's not like Amazon.
30 back Monday day guarantee. I'd be Spence if you think this could do it. I'd pick one up and just test it, and then if it works, just send it to them. Yeah,
configure it and see how easy it is to use.
I can't. I mean, it looks like it's a pretty basic box. It doesn't look like there's too many things that could.
Well, it all depends on the software that you use, the quality of the tuner.
It says it's got a digital display built into it, so. And it's pretty inexpensive.
It's got to have on-screen programming.
I would assume that's what a digital display is. I would hope.
Converts to, I would hope so too.
Did the current converter boxes have like a
they
guide?
usually have some type of a menu built in because you got to go in and scan, and then you can set up favorite channels, and so it depends on how sophisticated they are. But the two that I bought back when the conversion happened. One of them is quite sophisticated.
It's interesting.
Yeah, this could actually do it, and I could set them up with a couple of terabyte drive.
Do you need that much?
Well, remember, this stuff is not compressed.
Oh.
It's not.
Who just called in?
Larry Lawrence.
Hey.
Hey. I was just wondering, could you tell Mr. Phillips if he could email me after the show? I lost his email address.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I wonder where he is. Okay, we'll tell him.
Okay.
All right, Larry.
Okay.
Bye.
Y'all keep up the good show.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's see. Tim's just put one on one from Amazon that looks to be much cheaper. Yeah, this is only $30.
Yeah,
it's the exact same box. It looks like the box is here, and it's just a bunch of different companies sell it.
What about the description?
It's got all the same features.
Oh.
Let's see. This one's got 1-star reviews, so let's take a look at this. Very poor product. Replacing any other converter box. Let's see. Remote never worked. Okay, so this guy's remote didn't work, so he couldn't use the box. Okay, that makes sense.
Channel Master is still in business.
Antennas?
Yeah, I knew a guy who was the general manager of Channel Master. He retired a number of years ago. They were going through they got bought by somebody.
Yeah, Spence, I would not pick up this box. A lot of people are saying the life of this thing is horrendous. Like 5 months, 3 months, 2 months.
Oh, well,
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, Channel Master it's a similar box. It does not have an internal drive. It uses a USB, external USB, but it's got the tuner built in.
Is it the same look as the other box?
No, much sleeker. I'll put the link in. Yeah, this is a much more respectable product here. I don't know what it costs, but it is a slim box DVR.
Oh, that's Tim. Hey, Tim.
Oh, wow. That thing is thin, damn.
But it's a lot more expensive.
Oh, my God, it's $300. That actually looks really nice. The on-screen guide of that thing looks nice. Oh, you connect it to the Ethernet as well, so you could record to... Oh, what about no, Slingbox doesn't do recording, does it?
What doesn't? What?
Slingbox? That thing where you can like stream your
I don't know.
media? Those are expensive too, though, I know. Oh, that's expensive.
Bruce, you still here?
Yeah, Slingbox doesn't record. It can control an existing DVR. It does time shifting where it'll you can pause for up to 30 minutes if you had to do something and come back and watch it, but it does not record anything to the PC.
Uh-huh.
Now, cable is not an option for them, Spence?
No. It's interesting where they live. They live in a community that when it was started 25 years ago, cable company wanted to put cable in there, and they're in a rural area behind orange groves in Florida. The building is having all around them, but because they basically told the cable company to take a hike, every time they've approached them to come back in there, the cable company said, "No, I don't think so."
So they screwed themselves in the beginning.
So yeah, they refused, and they're too far out for DSL to work. Unless they put in, that's another thing. They've been talking to the telephone company about putting a DSLAM at the entrance to the neighborhood. It's 5-acre minimum zoning It's literally like they call it a forest. It's a very nice development. People have horse ranches in there and stuff like that.
It's pretty cool.
They very, very, very rural, very private. Nice.
So they have no internet then?
Do they have
Internet?
no?
No internet. Wow.
What do you mean no? I thought you said that.
Oh, they can get Verizon over wireless broadband, so they do have a
Okay.
a MiFi device,
Yeah.
which helps.
go.
But they're on they're not on an unlimited plan.
Yeah.
They mainly use it for email and some browsing. But
Yeah, Brent is saying, DirecTV because they give you a DVR, but it costs a lot.
yeah, they're
Every
not gonna
month.
pay for it.
They probably don't need all that. It would be nice
Yeah.
if DirecTV had something like basic that's like $10 a month, but they couldn't.
No.
They
For
couldn't do
them,
it.
when digital TV came around, that was a significant upgrade to what they'd lived with for 20 years. Getting all those extra channels and getting a much. I actually was there when we set up the 2 converter boxes that my uncle got.
And they actually use the VCR to watch shows afterwards?
Yeah.
Interesting. And Mike,
Yep.
Larry Lawrence wants you to email him.
Okay.
Email him, yeah. He lost your email address. Of course, you could tell him what it is right now. I don't know why I didn't tell him. So, but you cannot record one channel and watch another that way, right?
It says it has 2 tuners,
Oh,
so it is possible. Just like a
So,
VCR.
so you would need to
work.
split the antenna signal, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah, you could have more than one,
Yeah.
more than one signal off the antenna. Let's see. They have. I'm seeing some links now. I don't think it's the same device. They're still selling the older one. They made an older one. The new one is the replacement.
Wonder if there's a used one for sale anywhere.
Yeah. Well, the older one, the older model, which is not made anymore, is only $139.
That's an interesting position that they're in. I'm
Doesn't
surprised
say-
somebody hasn't made a good, inexpensive box for it. It must just be that so few people are in the market for that.
yeah, but it's something that you could just incorporate one of those, what do you call them? The little computers on a board?
Raspberry Pi.
Raspberry Pi.
The Raspberry Pi and,
Yeah, except that thing has got no processing power.
oh. Wait a second. Oh, no, that's right. They do need that because the video, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm really surprised nobody's made something like that.
Okay, those people that are listening and those people in the chat, here's your chance to build something that may have a market.
It must be that they're just not cost effective to make. Somebody would have made them if they were cost effective. I mean, that's what these things look like. They're pieces of junk. Because you have to have, like Spencer said, you need to have 2 tuners plus a guide plus a way to record things to a USB drive and then play them back. So, I mean, I can't imagine it's got to be something cheap to build. Oh, Brett makes a good point. What about a DVD recorder?
Is that all that thing is?
No, but that's a 1080p DVD recorder.
Oh, no, yeah,
Can
that's a TV tuner.
A VHS and DVD recorder.
How much is it? Oh, there it is. It
I
starts
give
at
them a way
218.
to. Well, they're going to burn a disc and that's it.
Yeah, true. So why won't they use VHS?
Well, they said they can't find a VHS recorder that's got a digital tuner in it, but this one does. It looks like
Was it a tuner or a digital tuner?
Well, it's got to
not
be
built-in.
over the air. It's got to be over the air
does say.
digital capable.
Yeah, it says built-in digital tuner. Oh, looks
Now
I
what
just
they
let you
do-
know
what
I'm going
they
to jump
did-
out of here in about 10 minutes, Amnon.
A what?
I just want to let you know I'm going to jump out of here in 10 minutes. Didn't want to surprise you, but
Okay, well, I mean, you can break in and say, okay, guys, I'm leaving. Don't worry
well,
about it.
sometimes breaking in is not appropriate at the time.
Oh, I don't know. This one here, it says, on the description, it says, VHS VCR. This comes a built-in digital TV tuner for recording of favorite shows, DVD picture quality, HD, blah, 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 and then it says VHS VCR. You can even listen to music, from a USB device while viewing your photos too. VHS VCR, VeriLink for simple one-touch two-way copy, built-in SD memory, USB, HDMI output. Does it look like there's a door for a VCR? I mean, VHS? Yeah, it may be. That's the thing at the very top. It may be a VHS. Yeah, it says on it VHS. So there it is.
I just don't think they want to use tapes anymore.
Oh.
Hey,
Okay,
but
next.
I applaud them. I applaud them for saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So the fact that there are boxes out there, there'll be something. Just the one that they asked me about really had terrible reviews. So
I'll bet you can record to the VHS or through USB, or maybe the USB is one way. Digital tray, DivX. Recordable media, DVD, DVD. So it's not VHS recorded. Oh, no, that's DVD. Where's the feature system? VCR, VHS. Connection. Nothing about USB Type A front, HDMI. I don't know. It looks like exactly what they would want, but the VHS.
I'll have to build them one. I'll just get out
that's
the,
going to be a lot cheaper.
the prototyping center here, and we'll make something. You got any old MFM drives around, Amnon, I can use?
Yeah, actually I do. ESDI.
I think there's a program for a 3D printed version of this thing where you can just print it out on your 3D
Yeah,
printer.
cool. Have you seen now they're actually working on prototypes for 3D printed food?
Yeah.
Earl Grey, hot.
Yeah, that's right.
Tastes like chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken.
Yep.
Even the chicken tastes like chicken. All right, it's 11:30. I got to run.
All right, Spence.
Have a pleasant week.
You do the same. Give me a call
I will. Yeah, hopefully this week will be less
Tuesday.
insane, and I'll have some free time.
Okay.
It's been I'm not used to being so busy that getting home at 8:00 every night.
Dr. John saying that the printer uses creamy peanut butter. It can't use.
That's it. And there's a little arm that swings out to embed the peanuts into it, right?
I was
you
watching.
use it.
I was watching a news report that said that now with the 3D printers, they are actually building organs, and they're using DNA or whatever in the cartridge. So I was about to call Nabil, Mike, and tell him that he can get into a cartridge refilling business, you know.
That sounds like it's a technological gap between
I don't know.
DNA in a cartridge and actually building an organ. There's got to be a lot more information.
I guess.
In order to do that.
But they were actually showing a cartridge, like an HP cartridge.
Let me run down to Office Depot and pick up a lung, heart, and a kidney cartridge.
Let me go down to Office Depot and pick up a girl cartridge.
Yeah, right.
What was that?
Well,
Mad
the printer's got to be
Science?
pretty big then, because otherwise you're going to have to sew parts together. It's going to be a Franken girl.
Yeah. Franken girl.
All right,
Okay.
later, guys.
All right.
Have fun.
See ya.
Take care. All right, let's see how quick I can do this. Bang. And I'm doing it just for a few minutes because then we're going to sign off anyway, right? Mike, did you ever get the email that I sent you with Tim's phone number? What's going? Oh,
With whose phone number?
Tim, the architect on.
Oh, I think I did.
Okay.
I got one email from you about him. I don't know if that's the one you were talking about.
Yeah. So what else is? I had the security story. I had to go Friday down to one of my customers that I installed the camera system at, who is a used car dealer. Somebody came and went on a test drive in a Nissan 350ZX, whatever, and just kept on going and never came back.
That's one way to sell a car.
And that's the first time that it happened to them, that somebody stole a car like that. And they left their license, or they left a driver's license. The salesman didn't look close enough, and afterwards it was found out that it was a stolen driver's license. So this was very well planned there on those kids' part.
I had something I was going to talk about, and I can't find it.
You need help?
I've been accused of it. I'll copyright. I don't know where it is, but I had something. Maybe it'll show up, maybe it won't. Did you know that Apple has an integration with, let me see if I say this correctly. Apple has the ability to integrate iCloud with Microsoft Outlook that allows you to share calendars between Outlook and your iOS devices.
Say that again. In one breath.
Let's back up a step before that. If you have two or more users in an office and you want to share a common calendar between you using Microsoft Outlook, you have to have Exchange Server.
Right.
Although now you can get it in the cloud. For years you had to have an Exchange Server because that's where the sharing was controlled.
Okay.
You could not share the same PST file in Outlook and share the folder because the Outlook has to have exclusive access to the PST file. Well, apparently Apple has introduced a way to interface iCloud with Outlook, such that 2 or more Outlook users can share common calendars so between themselves as Outlook users, but also with individual iOS users. I'd never heard of it until Friday because a friend of mine set that up for their office. Everything had been working fine. Then all of a sudden the contacts disappeared on one of the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get it back, they actually did a call with Apple. The call lasted 4 hours.
Wow.
And they were unable to solve the problem. I ultimately told them, well, we really don't know much about Outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's their application, but we really don't know much about Outlook. And she said, well, I'm going to call my friend who knows this stuff. And the guy on the phone had the gall to tell her, well, if he figures it out, could you let?
Interesting.
And I said, only if some money changes hands. Apple doesn't do anything without money, and I don't either. So I did figure out part of the problem, but I have not worked on the overlay yet.
What problem are we talking about?
You were not
One
here.
I just mentioned.
Oh, no, I wasn't here. Why ask?
There is apparently a service that Apple offers through iCloud that integrates with Outlook.
Oh.
Are you familiar with it?
Nope.
And some friends of mine are using it. They had a problem. They were on the phone with Apple Friday for 4 hours, and they were unable to get it solved. No, the Apple told them, we don't know much about Outlook. And yet
Of
it's
course
their
not.
application.
It doesn't matter. They use iMail, whatever garbage they use.
Yeah, but if they have a product that incorporates...
Yes, that would be everybody, Amnon. Not them. They're special.
Huh? Maybe.
So it's like selling a product and not knowing anything about it.
Well, if it's free, that's how they get off the hook.
I don't know why they develop.
Well, I mean,
how do you develop a product and then when somebody asks how to use it, you say we don't know? Why the hell would you waste your time developing it?
Yeah.
That's
I know
the
what
most
the
idiotic
biggest
thing
part-
I can ever think of.
I know what the biggest part of the problem was, and that is they were trying to import a VCF file that contained all of the contacts, export all of the contacts to a VCF file. Outlook only can open the first contact in the VCF file. It cannot import all of them in there, which means you have to import them into Windows contacts one at a time. She has 2,500 contacts. Then you can export them as a CSV file, which can be imported into Outlook. So the problem is that Outlook is crappy the way it deals with the issue.
Every email client is that same way, though. That's what's email is such a stupid technology. Like
I agree.
It's so we are so advanced, and we are still fighting. I mean, Thunderbird. It's this like stupid portfolio file that's got all your stuff in it. It's not redone email. It's such an ancient thing.
I totally agree.
It's like
That's why people
importing
thumb their
files to
nose
get context.
at Outlook Express, but it was an excellent program. It worked really well until it crashed. And when it crashed, it was horrible.
Because you lost everything. Because it was one
Everything.
file with everything in it.
You lost the index file, and you'd have to go in and manually dissect the DBF file. Had the tools to do it. Then they took the tools offline. So, I mean, using Outlook Express is taking your life in your hands.
Yeah. Email is not good.
I don't get it. And I guess that's why Gmail is so dominant, because it's web-based. It works. There's 15 gigabytes of...
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you're dealing with Google.
Which,
Your whole life is in Google's hands.
I mean, it is and it isn't. You use Google to search stuff?
Unfortunately, I do.
So then your whole
They're the
life is in
best.
Google's hands.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah. And they do the best email as well. I have no problem supporting Gmail.
Oh,
I have no. I might not agree with what they're doing, but at the end of the day, they are making the best web email thing out there, hands down.
Well, I don't know if you heard this whenever we first started, but the big problem I have, and it's just now weighing on my mind, is that these big companies are big and so untouchable that you as a customer, paid or otherwise, are totally irrelevant to them. Google couldn't care less about you as an individual, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's the same with any other company.
Well, but you know what? It didn't used to be that way, Nick.
Well, it may have not been, but it is now. I mean,
is that correct, Amnon? It didn't used to be that way.
That there would be.
The companies don't give a rat's behind about their customers.
No, it didn't used to, but because and it seems like it should have been the other way around when there weren't as many, and when they could have play arrogant and say, well, we're the only one in town. But now that there's so much competition, it seems like everyone will try and show that they are giving attention to the customer in order to stay in business. So yeah,
you know who's exactly the same, Mike? Time Warner. You think they care about you?
Oh, you think I'm going to argue with that?
Yeah, I mean, you call them and tell them your internet's down, and I'm going to switch. They say, okay, thanks for calling. Thanks for being part of the Time Warner family. I don't care.
You call in a trouble call, and they say, well, we don't have any other reports in your neighborhood, so we'll have to send someone out in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, that's always the best part. It's because you're the only one that's called. It's your issue.
Oh, well, it didn't occur to you that maybe I'm the first one.
Well, yeah, I called the second the internet goes down, so of course nobody else is called.
Them to Peggy. Peggy, help me.
This is Peggy.
I mean, it's really frustrating because these Time Warner, from what I can tell, they've overcharged me. They sent me a disconnect notice because I hadn't paid my bill. It's on auto draft.
Yep, we got time.
And so finally, when we got it straightened out, we paid it twice. And I just looked through the bill last night, and now we paid 1 month twice. And they just show it in their system as being normal. They showed that the bill this month was twice the amount, and the amount paid was twice this amount. That's not the correct case. I mean, if you just go by the monthly charge, this amount for December, this amount for August, then September, then October, then November, it's the same every month, right? December, it's twice the amount. January, it's back to the single amount. Why was it twice the amount in December?
You used twice the internet.
No. In fact, December was the lowest month I've had in a year.
That's
being
surprising.
Sick and not much time online, I only used 107 gigabytes.
107 gigabytes.
Yep.
Yeah, this happens with AT&T, for instance. Last month I went over my 5 gigabyte limit for the very first time, and I have the grandfather unlimited plan. So they throttled me back, and I talked about the previous show. So now I'm probably 2 weeks in. I'm at 2 gigabytes, and I get an email from them saying that if I reach my limit before my month is up, then they're going to give me a gigabyte and charge me $10 a month for it.
Even though you're on unlimited?
Even though I'm on unlimited, yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Well, when this show is over, I'm going to dial 611 and give them a piece of my mind. Why'd you send me this email after all the discussions we had, last month? And by the way, something might be worth mentioning. It's interesting that T-Mobile has come out and offering to buy out what $350 per contract they'll spend if you want to leave to T-Mobile. Not that I would want to necessarily go to T-Mobile, but at least there's some leverage and options you have when you're talking with somebody who's given you bad customer service. Say, hey, look.
See, the worst part about that is that it's T-Mobile. I mean, I don't know about where you live, but I mean, the people that have T-Mobile here are using AT&T for their cell phone because the T-Mobile signal's so weak here that their indicator always says AT&T, not T-Mobile. So,
but that brings up a point. The actual, and I don't know what your experience has been, Bruce, but the quality of telephone calls and cellular networks, they have limited the voice so much that I've gotten to where now I've even gotten 2 of my friends to start calling me on Skype instead of calling me on the phone because I don't like holding the phone up to my ear. It's uncomfortable. And it's almost difficult unless they have a perfect or in favorable acoustical environment. It's hard to hear them.
AT&T is coming out with a new service, though.
And what is it? A phone?
HD Voice for AT&T.
Right.
They're going to use that program from Harman, pads the
Right.
MP3.
Do you have that same experience, Bruce, where it's hard to understand the other party?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's because they bandwidth limited the audio signal, and whenever you cut the high frequency content, that diminished eligibility. But they couldn't care less about that. All they want to do is get more people in the same bandwidth.
What'd you think about the revelation this week that the Target hacking thing is much bigger than expected, up to 70 million people?
It always is
It
bigger.
is what it is. You know, there's no privacy. You talk about the hacking thing. Have you ever thought about how much access just the average employee at a Target has to your credit card information anyway?
Any store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
First
some-
time I had a debit card compromised was a waiter at a Red Lobster in Florida, probably 5 years
Exactly.
ago.
Same thing happened to me at I forget what it was now, some store at the airport in Atlanta on an American Express card. It's dangerous out there.
It's
For the
part
most
of life. It's
I
part
pay
of life.
cash.
It's just what happens.
Everybody's on a scam.
Yep. Everybody's out there to make money from your stuff.
See if I've got Larry's email
All right.
address.
Well, it's 12 o'clock almost.
Yep. Wind her up.
Bruce, see, you stayed with us throughout.
Yeah. Well, that's because I took you in the car. You know, I have no
Oh, that's
Wi-Fi
right.
connection.
Yeah.
So I just jumped in the car, and I'm here to pick up my daughter and 2 granddaughters. So I'm waiting for them, and thought I'd just stick on. I've been using the built-in microphone on my Note 2, so I hope the audio's not been too bad.
Battery is good on the phone, too.
Yeah, and a good word on that. I had some flight delays this last time, and I got a $25 gift card, so I bought the Anchor charger and 2 spare battery packs, and man, it worked out really good. So it's nice having extra batteries when I need it. For the first time, I did.
Nice. So the phone is not hooked to the car now?
Yeah. It's I'm hooked up to the charger right now,
Okay.
but
All right.
so they're coming in here. So I'll catch you later, guys.
Okay. All right, Bruce.
See you, Bruce.
Care.
Brush your hair.
All
I
right.
found the thing I wanted to talk about, but I don't
Okay.
want to talk
No,
about
no.
it this week. Try
Why?
to remind me next week.
What do
tell
you mean,
you.
try to remind you? I mean, it's not going to happen. Talk about
Well,
it. Why?
maybe Nick will. Nick has
Well,
still got
hold
brain
on.
cells.
What's the topic?
I'm trying to get to it.
Let's go.
The Craig's list. Yeah, you remember it, Craig. The
yes,
Craig's list
I own it.
that has my email address in it, but it's
Oh,
not my
yeah.
listing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it quick. We don't need to.
I don't want to talk about it because I've got about 10 emails I'm going to go through one at a time, and I would like
Oh.
to see how it resolves between now and next week.
Okay, let me write a note down.
Did you get any money?
Not yet.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, did you do that? Send somebody your PayPal and
Did you make offers?
No, I did not.
I don't.
Like a-
Mike, you should really send somebody your PayPal.
Well, we'll talk about it next week, but I have a theory on these, and I may forward them to you in advance, guys, so you can get your opinion on them. But I think
All right.
it's kind of to detect when this happens and when it's a scam, because at least half of these emails are from scammers.
Oh yeah, I post the web design stuff. There's like the not classified, the service ads here or on Craigslist, and I post stuff in there. And is the service still available? I am interested.
Right. And what's your
Clearly
bottom line
spam.
price?
Yeah. No, I mean I don't even respond to them because they're all spam.
Well, I think Craigslist is severely compromised. I'm not sure how much usefulness it has anymore. If it's somebody in your neighborhood selling something that you can walk down and take a look at and hand them cash for it, maybe.
Well,
Every time I've sold anything on Craigslist, I've had very good experiences with it. I've never had any
As
issues.
have I, but go put a $5,000 item on there and tell me what you get.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Talk with you later this afternoon, probably. Let's just mention here that if you need any work done on a WordPress site, if you need maintenance done on it, if you need to maintain it, anything that you need to do on your WordPress site, get in touch with Nick at CraigDigitalDesigns.com. It's right under his picture there.
Yeah, I'm going to post a link in chat.
Absolutely. Do that. Yeah, do it.
There you go. Thank you.
Good. No, thank you. Okay. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Don. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at night, but you can watch us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. All equally important. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, it is The Health In with Debbie. And at 1 o'clock, Breaking Free with Marilyn. See you all then.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Help with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m.